The Game Theory Podcast's NBA Draft Live Show. It's time for us to find out what the hell is going to happen in this 2022 NBA Draft. With me, as always, Matt Pennie over there in Boston. Yeah. What up, Ben?
I'm very excited. I know you're very excited. This is changing by the moment, the minute in front of us. I dressed for the occasion. You said before we got on here, why are you wearing a suit? You're supposed to dress for the job that you want. They invited 24 guys to the green room. There's space for another. If there's 25, the 25th invitation, I'm ready to jog around the corner, get there, and jump into action. But until then, I'll be here with you, a special guest or two, guiding our way through this draft that apparently isn't set yet, and we are 12 minutes till the first pick.
I see that this thing is not set yet. This thing is going to be crazy. Adrian Wojnarowski has thrown a bomb our way, a patented Woj bomb. Paulo is in serious contention to go number one, as the gamblers have thought for a while now. Paulo on Sunday started to get real action to go number one overall, moving from anywhere between 12 to 18 to 1, all the way down to about 2.8 to 1, 2.5 to 1. Then last night there was heavy movement again. Paulo actually became the favorite to go number one. Woj tweets this morning that it looks like it's going to be Jabari Smith at number one again. Odds flip again. And as of 10 minutes ago, it was minus 900 for Jabari Smith to be the number one overall pick.
Yikes.
You have to win. You have to bet $9 to win $1. This thing is off the rails already. Yep. I have no idea what to expect here. This is going to be nuts.
Do you remember when this was a boring draft? It was boring. The guys at the top aren't great. Credit to the Magic. Credit to Paolo Banchero's camp. However this thing has swung, I went to bed last night around midnight. I woke up at 5, 6 in the morning. My son wanted to watch a movie, which is great. And I wake up to this barrage of texts of the gambling line shifting. And then by about 2 or 3 in the afternoon, it was back to normal. And now it's crazy. So I credit Orlando for the process of keeping it so close to the vest. You and I talked about this, and I'm not trying to pat ourselves on the back here. We talked about this in early June when it was written in marker that the number one pick was Jabari Smith Jr. You talked to people, I talked to people. We said it's not a foregone conclusion. I thought it would be a foregone conclusion before 7:49 p.m. here, but the fact that they're still going through it, I don't know if they're vetting it. I don't know if they're standing on tables, throwing stuff at each other in the Orlando Magic war room, but there's excitement to start off here, which is a little insane.
Yeah, look, here is what I wrote in my final mock draft. Smith was the guy number one in the immediate post-lottery mock draft, and he remains that guy here as we move toward the end of draft week. I'm still not as certain as some of my media colleagues to call this a lock, even less than 2 hours away from the event. The Orlando front office is extremely secretive and has done a phenomenal job of keeping this thing under wraps. It has done its due diligence on all of the top group of prospects in different ways. I don't think this decision has been made for weeks or anything like that, and we'll just find out about it on draft night. I know that this is not the answer that bettors want to hear right now as they try to place their bet on who goes number one, but I legitimately have thought this process that throughout this process, the Orlando's decision is much more wide open than the consensus would indicate. That was 2 hours ago that I wrote that. Yeah. I still was concerned as of 2 hours ago. And I'm someone who talks to people. You talk to people. Yeah. This thing is wide open. Let's just be real with it. Let's not act like it's a done deal. Try and be first. Orlando did a great job.
I didn't feel great about it. I'm still getting text messages as we speak about are we sure? Is this moving? Is this shifting? There's very few people I think on the planet that actually know. If Vegas gets this right again, I'm never going to gamble ever. It's how did you know this? And the rest of us didn't. We joked about it this morning. Did someone at a bar just throw this across and somebody caught it and said, hey, Paulo's going number one. I don't think Jabari Smith Jr. Maybe. Let's quickly talk about this, though, as we get closer and closer to number one pick. We talked a lot about Jabari Smith Jr.'s fit with the Magic. We talked a lot about potentially Chet Holmgren's fit with the Magic. What's your take on if this reaches the level that it looks like? What's Paolo Banchero's fit on the Magic with the current pieces and roster that they have?
Yeah, it's interesting. Is Orlando good enough to where you worry about any pieces that fit outside of Franz Wagner, who is their main piece, right? And Jalen Suggs to an extent, who I would consider a real secondary asset moving forward. I don't know that you do. I don't like the idea of Wendell Carter and Paulo Banchero
Right.
together in the front court. Like, I think that just doesn't have enough foot speed necessarily to be able to defend effectively in the NBA. Wagner is, not fast for a three if he's going to go down and play the three more often. So I worry about foot speed for sure. But on some level, I am interested in where this all goes now. And I'm interested in just hearing your perspective on what the fit is with the Orlando Magic here moving forward with Paulo, if they end up drafting him at number 1.
They're viewing, as we're watching, the one of my favorite parts of the NBA had this NBA runway with the parents as the players are introduced. It's awesome if you're peeking at it on the screen. It's funky, right? It's funky. If you're Orlando, do you worry about the fit? I've yelled about just taking Jaden Ivey if you're the Kings. Don't worry about the fit. Like, he's the guy. If they feel that strongly about Paulo, they'll move some things around to make it work. On paper, I don't love it with just extending Wendell, like you talked about. Franz Wagner can kind of play anywhere, but from that self-creation spot that Paulo has to be able to get his own, yeah, there's definitely intrigue there. I'm worried about Orlando needs floor spacers. And when the lottery was announced and we did our mock draft immediately following, I took Chet and you said, well, wait a minute. Jabari, just on paper, is better because he stretches the floor. He opens up all those driving lanes for Cole Anthony, for Jalen Suggs, for Franz Wagner to operate a little bit. I think the floor gets even a little bit more crowded with Paulo there, but I don't want to shortchange him after an unbelievable Final Four run that really turned the corner, I think, from a passing perspective about January and put it all together when it mattered, when a lot of these guys were sitting at home watching NCAA tournament games. We've discussed at length. Paul Banchero has been awesome during pre-draft. He's in fantastic shape. The jumper looks better. I know it's an open gym shooting around by yourself. He's done everything the right way up to this point. So he, without question, warrants consideration for number 1. But we'll get an answer here in about 10 minutes. If this was all some weird smokescreen by somebody somewhere, or this was just reality creeping its way out too.
Yeah, and you and I have been incredibly clear on this from the jump, right? That Paulo has been incredible in workouts. You mentioned that within your little spiel there. I was told that Paulo just absolutely looked phenomenal any place that he decided to work out, that he just looked like an incredible physical, like mismatched nightmare long term that would go into these workouts and just be like 6'10" and handle the ball at an exceptionally high level and knock down shots in an open court. Like, all of the workout, everything that came with that, all of those reports were absolutely stunning, I thought.
So let's remain in our fantasy world here. Let's say Paulo goes number 1. Not saying it's going to happen. I have no inside information. My phone's right here. I'm no Woj. You would know before I would. Paulo goes first.
Do you want to know what Woj just tweeted?
Not really, unless it's done. I turned off the notifications, but go ahead. Your show.
I mean, Woj gave us a very good indication. As the Orlando Magic move closer to getting on the clock, Duke's Paulo Banchero is now looming as a front runner to be the number 1 overall pick in the 2022 NBA draft. I mean, the whole thing.
How did we get here? So let's.
It's great. Like, I absolutely love
this. I'm not rooting against it. I like working on the fly here. Let's throw out the scripts if we had any. I have no notes. We're just going off the cuff here. If Paulo goes 1, let's now talk about what happens at 2 and 3. You're Oklahoma City. You're at 2. You're the Houston Rockets at 3. What happens? I'm assuming it's still going to be some order of Chet Holmgren and Jabari Smith Jr. What happens between those 2 spots?
I'm kind of thinking that Chet still goes to Oklahoma City, to be honest. Like, that's what my current read on this is. I mean, it seems like that has been an attempt to orchestrate that the whole way. But then again, like, we saw a photo of Jabari Smith doing a thing at like the airport with Sam Presti or whatever, like where he's getting his bags like out of a plane or whatever. So I don't know. Like, I'm thrown now. I think it's probably Chet, but I thought it was Jabari at 1. So, like, who the hell knows?
11 minutes ago, how quickly things change. And then we've again, we've discussed this at length. I love Chet's fit anywhere. I think it's great in Oklahoma City because he's not going to be rushed into being the main option. Defensively, he can kind of be the main option, roaming the paint, blocking shots, taking rebounds off the rim, pushing the pace, going with Josh Giddey, going with Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, have some toughness with Lou Dort, however they want to spread out the rest of the court. Now let's talk Jabari Smith. What does it look like with Jabari Smith Jr. if we're still in our weird semi-upside-down world with the Houston Rockets?
A great fit as a pick and pop guy with Jalen Green, right? Like that's a great pick and roll fitness. It's not quite the same as Paulo and Jalen because I think you can switch that action in a way where if it was Paulo, you wouldn't be able to switch that action necessarily. But I actually really like Jalen Smith as a guy that, or Jabari Smith. I'm sorry. Good God. I'm like all thrown off right now. Also, my cat's like trying to break down the door to my
Go
office.
let him in. Go let him in. We're having a party.
Yeah.
We let in all these people on YouTube. You can let the cat in.
We might get there eventually.
That's like pick 23. We let the cat in. We're going off the rails.
Yeah, we let the cat in at 23. Yeah, look, I think Jabari Smith probably not quite as good of a pick and roll partner as Paulo Banchero because you're going to be able to switch that action a little bit easier because Jabari is just going to try and shoot over the top as opposed to like punish you and take you down into the post. But I don't know. Like I think it's actually probably a pretty good. I think it's probably a pretty good fit at the end of the day. And if I was Houston, I'd probably be happy with Jabari and I'd be happy with Chet too. And we can talk about that momentarily, but like, I think that it works for Houston still.
Absolutely. And with Houston, you ship out Christian Wood, right? So you clear out space regardless of who it is. And we're sort of kind of fitting this similar pieces into holes that don't work with, well, if it is Paulo and you just drafted Alperen Şengün, you have Ousmane Garuba, who's probably taking a backseat to all this talk, right? But the Jabari Smith Jr., Alperen Şengün pairing probably works a little bit more cleaner. As a 4 and a 5 defensively, Jabari can make up for some of those mistakes, guard down the lineup a little bit, 3s and 4s, maybe rotate for 5 a little bit. Not the shot blocker, clearly, that Chet would be if Chet ends up at 3. But I like that too. And Jabari's translation is really clean. And I don't want to shortchange him either because we talk so much about the upside of the other guys. Jabari Smith Jr. is a year younger than Chet Holmgren. His developmental track has skyrocketed. He was a top 10 kid out of high school. He was in the USAB system. It's not like he came out of nowhere like a Jalen Williams who's surging. We'll talk about that later. But he's continued to improve. At Auburn, he improved by leaps and bounds. The jumper actually got better. He was more of a mid-range shooter in high school that could take some threes. Now he's a three-point shooter. We're talking about can he make twos? So he's still a baby in his track of where he's going to be. And I'm really high on Jabari Smith Jr. as well, regardless of where he ends up.
And if it is Jabari Smith or Chet Holmgren in Houston, I like both of their fits defensively better with Alperen Şengün than I do Paulo Banchero. Now, I like the fit of Paulo Banchero and Jalen Green more because I think that two-man game would just be phenomenal. And as much as I like Şengün as a prospect, I don't know that you can like truly consider him necessarily whenever you're like diving deep into this and like trying to create like a high upside team, right? You take the best guys at the end of the day. And if you evaluate Paulo Banchero to be the best fit with Jalen Green, you take him. But at the same token, it is worth acknowledging like Chet Holmgren does help to actualize a lot of like Alperen Şengün on the defensive end. Jabari Smith's mobility and his help side defense does help to actualize Şengün on the defensive end. And Şengün's ability to make plays with the ball in his hand as a passer, as a ball handler, I actually kind of like that.
I do too. I've like sold myself on it the last 3 or 4 minutes here that it makes a little bit more sense. I'm not worried. I don't use the word worried. There's more of an opportunity, I would argue, for Chet to score more and be this central force of everything else if he were 3 to Houston than he would at Orlando. Orlando, I feel like, already has like an issue of too many guys that want the ball in their hands. You add another one with Paulo. We talked about how Jabari Smith works because they can't shoot from 3. He's a catch and shoot guy anyway. If the off the dribble stuff develops, it's another element. Like Paulo wants to have the ball. He can pass out of the high post. He can pass at the elbow, but he wants to catch, create, make some moves off the bounce. I'm seeing his touches being a little bit more limited in Orlando. So my rookie of the year pick I made for him about 3 weeks ago, maybe 3 months ago, when I was trying to justify why I had him at 4, but I still really like Paulo Banchero. I would take a step back from that just because of the offensive situation. I thought Jalen Suggs, and he didn't shoot as well as we expected his rookie year. I thought he would come out the gates hotter. scoring wise, but it was a little bit of a byproduct of just a logjam of 1s and 2s and even some 3s that need the ball in their hands.
Yeah. It's a good question. I don't know what that fit looks like. I mean, let's find out if Paulo actually goes number 1.
Yeah.
Like Woj said he's the front runner to go number 1 now. I mean, I just want to be very clear here now that we're on the clock, right? Shout out to Jeff Weltman and John Hammond.
Yeah.
Like, for them to have kept this under wraps in today's NBA where teams leak left and right, agencies leak left and right, like, they deserve an immense amount of credit for having fooled everyone. And at the end of the day, let's be very, very clear, fooled everyone here. Like, I kind of thought that I wasn't sure what was happening, and that made me concerned. But nonetheless, like, this was impressive by Orlando's front office.
Even if he doesn't go first, I'm impressed. I am. There's certain situations that you and I are closer to, whether it's for whatever various reasons. We'll leave it at that. I thought I was pretty close to this one, and I don't know. Like, I really don't have an answer here. So I'm as much anticipating when the commissioner says his name and the State Farm jingle comes off. It's not the traditional jingle, which already has me thrown off. Here he is. So he's taking the stage. I think they put him on the clock now. Let's see how we do.
Yeah, like I have like friends that are bettors, right? Like nobody knows that, or nobody who is a follower of the show doesn't know that, right? My text messages are hysterical right now. Jabari is going number 1 ? Another person in the group chat.
I just stopped looking. Stop looking.
I'm cracking up as another better. Like, it's just beautiful. This thing is so beautiful. I'm so excited that we are at a point where we have, we're a minute from this thing happening. I don't know what's going to happen. Do you?
No, I have no clue. I'm going back and forth. There's a clicker, not a remote control. I want to be clear here. I'm going back and forth muting it because I want to see it come out of Adam Silver's lips who this pick is, and I don't know the answer. I don't.
If it's Jabari Smith, I will never stop laughing. Like, for
why though? I mean,
ESPN,
that's the guy that we thought, though, collectively, that even if we said it wasn't a done deal, that's the guy we thought would likely be the guy. More likely than not. We didn't say 90%, but we thought more likely than not.
Yeah, I mean, I got some questions on how people got this wrong. That's kind of where I'm at on this. Like, I have some real questions why people were as certain as they were on Jabari. Where was the info coming from, I guess, is my question.
Yeah.
I'm a little bit unclear on that. In fact, I'm like very unclear on that. Let's be very clear on this.
Yeah, there's a case study because this is Sam Presti 101. And he's picking second. And early in the day, we were like, is this 4D chess that Oklahoma City's bluffing this whole thing and Houston's trying to trade up to number 1? And the bettors are guessing, is the move to number 1 because Houston knows that if at 2 it's going to be Paulo, that's their guy, they want to make a move. This is real Orlando. Again, I can't tip my hat enough to how they handle this process.
Yeah, Jeff Weltman and John Hammond, but this is them too. Like, this is not just like Sam Presti doing Sam Presti things. Like, Orlando during this regime of Jeff Weltman and John Hammond running the show, they have absolutely been the kind of organization that keeps things under wraps like this. And credit to them. I mean, they maintained the value of the pick for a potential trade throughout it. They kept everyone guessing. This is good work by them. This is very good work by the Orlando front office. And for, they can't make a wrong pick here as long as it's not like Justin Bean. Sorry, Justin Bean. Like,
come on, man. I'm throwing shots at Justin Bean. He's throwing a tweet at him the other day too. Chet wearing a dice necklace. That's the win of the fashion so far. Mark Williams has an MW chain. Paulo Banchero has a P5, but I'm going with P5. That looks clean.
Oh, no, I already texted Paulo's representation. I was like, no matter what happens tonight, like, Paulo's suit absolutely wins tonight. This purple suit is absolutely incredible. We just need to be very clear about that. Me, Mr. Fashion, wearing just like a fucking like Henley, right? But Paulo's
Henleys always play. They always play.
Unreal.
All right, so we're starting now, despite this long entrance intro here and background of the Magic organization as we're watching our screen. The Orlando Magic are on the clock. So we have 5 more minutes to wax poetically on our takes.
Well, should we talk fashion? Did you see anything else you like? Like, do we need to talk about Chet trying to get a cameo on What We Do in the Shadows? Like,
why are you going after my boy so early? I like Malaki Branham's blazer, like a black suit on,
yeah,
like
I
a
saw
kind of
that
cool
one.
blazer. I like that. I like Dyson
Jeremy
Daniels' fit.
Sochan has
Good.
a purple suit as well.
Yeah, like the yellow hair, looking like a Batman
Yeah.
villain. I liked him. That looks good.
I love it. It's fantastic. Like I am all for guys going colorful. Like I don't like the big suit fashion that was
That's
the
gone.
90s
That was
or
like
whatever.
that was like
Yeah.
2003, which is so cringy because you look back and my suits were never that baggy, and it was almost like the baggier it was, the more fashionable it was and classy it was.
Yeah.
So I was like kind of baggy.
Yeah,
Not
you
like
missed that era though.
I couldn't afford all the way baggy. Well, no, I was class of 03 in high school, so that was like LeBron, D Wade,
Yeah.
whatever. But it's good how it's like it's become like Met Gala type fashion. It's not the Oscars, it's not the NBA drafts. Like, what wild stuff can I wear for a year here, for a moment in time here, a snapshot that'll stand out, and a lot of these guys do.
Yeah, no, I dig it. I think that I'm all for guys going as loud as possible as long as the suit is like a suit that fits you well. You know what I mean? Just like get it tailored, handle your shit, make sure it fits well. That's it. That's where I'm at.
All right, so on the draft, and I'm reading subtitles, so I apologize here. Adrian Wojnarowski said he's working under the assumption, I could be wrong here because sometimes the subtitles when they type the closed captioning isn't the best. Working on the assumption that Paolo Banchero is the number one pick in the draft.
Yeah.
And here we go.
Let's do it. Like,
yeah,
I just have questions on like how all week people went on TV and the reporting for everyone.
It was this morning.
By the way,
it was this morning.
Yeah.
It was at noon. We had some doubling down at noon or 2
and
o'clock.
Yeah, let's be clear. Like, oh, by the way, like the people who told me all of this, like I probably have pretty similar sources in terms of what other people did. But you just never know with Orlando. Like, and that's not a bad thing. I mean that positively. Like, you just don't know with them. And I don't think anyone truly knew at this point. And
yeah. and I don't know if anyone now big board. There's a lot of people at Powell, a lot of Powell believers, right? I don't know. If I don't know if anyone really mocked this though. That's the difference.
Yeah, I'll be interested to see because look, I have too much going on, right? Like I can't go and change my mock draft.
Do it now. You can do that, right?
Yeah, it's 7:58 or whatever, which I'm sure someone is going to do.
Yeah, I had it. I was right.
I had it. Yeah, no. Like,
number one pick in the draft. Guys. Wild. All right, the pick is in per TV. I'm going to hit mute so I can see the words here. Let's
all right.
Let's buckle in. The roller coaster is starting. So.
Okay, so the roller coaster is starting. Adam Silver's going up, according to Matt Pennie. I'm excited to see what this is.
Here's the strut. All right, here we go. Oh, God.
We got the silver strut. By the way, for people watching and listening, I do not have my sound on. I do not have a TV on. Matt is watching.
Oh my God! It happened. Paolo Banchero is the first pick in the draft. I
love it. Great. So let's talk about Paolo Banchero's fit with the Orlando Magic. Unbelievable.
I need a sec. Despite us talking about it, like I need a second. There wasn't a world where I thought this was happening. I thought it was Chet or Jabari. I did not have my mind in a place where I thought it'd be Paolo Banchero. Nothing to him. He's proven that he's beyond worthy of being the number one pick. He came in too. Like it's this weird roller coaster where preseason he was kind of around that area, and coming out of high school, we said, here's a shot blocking guy that can hit threes. And at the grind session out in Arizona, he's doing pick and roll stuff off the dribble. And then it was weird. It had a great start to the season. Then he tapered off. Then he picked it back up. Ended on a high note. I'm shocked. I am. The fit is interesting. I'm shocked they went number one.
Shocking pick. Absolutely a shocking pick. Let's talk about the fit, though. Paolo Banchero, he is going to go play with Franz Wagner. He's going to go play with Jalen Suggs, their 2 lottery picks last year. Wendell Carter in the front court. Jonathan Isaac is another swing piece here. I actually kind of love the idea of pairing him in a really versatile front court with Franz Wagner, Jonathan Isaac, Paolo Banchero. You have all sort of creativity out there. You have shooting with Paolo and Franz. You have the defensive ability, the switch ability, the help defense with Jonathan Isaac. It's interesting. Look, we have no idea what Jonathan Isaac's going to look like, by the way, whenever he
Correct.
comes back from injury. But like the idea of that is interesting. The fit with Wendell Carter, I would like to see a little bit more. I'd like to understand a little bit more. But again, it's worth noting that teams that saw Paolo Banchero in the pre-draft process were blown away. They were absolutely, unequivocally blown away by what they saw in his workouts. And I am just very surprised. I'm at the point where I am legitimately surprised that Paolo Banchero is the number 1 overall pick in the 2022 NBA draft. And that's not a slight on Paolo. Like Matt said, I have Paolo at 3 on my board. I think, Matt, you might have him at 4. We think all these guys are so close. Like,
and I like them. It's not like a distant force. It's not like 2 that it falls off a cliff. Like I like Paolo. Don't get that twisted either.
Yeah, and like I have all 4 of these guys in the same tier, including Jaden Ivey. I have Paolo at 3. I think that Chet, Jabari, and Paolo are all just so drastically different. Paulo's more of a high-level shot creator. Honestly, Orlando could use like a real high-level shot creator from the front court. That's why this is valuable. Franz Wagner is good at this, but I think he's a little bit better as like a secondary guy. They started to use him in primary ball screens midway through last year, but I think even using him as a secondary guy is going to actually, expedite his development in a real way. Jalen Suggs, this is going to help Jalen Suggs for all the same reasons we talked about Jalen Green in ball screens. Like, again, you're not going to be able to switch Jalen Suggs in ball screens anymore, essentially, because if you do, he's going to throw the ball down to Paolo and he's going to murder these switches. So you're going to allow Jalen Suggs to be able to use his speed to get to the rim. You're going to have a 5-out lineup with Paolo, with Wendell Carter, with Franz Wagner. I love it. Like, I actually love the offensive fit. They do have good defensive guards, Jalen Suggs. Markelle Fultz has done a really good job defensively recently. I'm in on Paolo Banchero as the number 1 overall pick, even though it wouldn't have been what I would have done. I think all 3 of these guys are so close that I think this is a reasonable pick by all stretches.
Absolutely reasonable. Does this say anything to Orlando's want and desire to win right now? We've talked about Chet Holmgren's going to take a while to get there. Jabari Smith is probably take a while to get there. Regardless of where he had Paolo throughout this whole process, we said he's the most ready right here, right now. He is. I don't think that's really like us making some wild declaration. Does this speak to Orlando trying to push ahead of schedule? They're not going to try to stay in the lottery. They want to crawl out as quickly as possible. With getting this guy who's as productive as he is against different types of players, size from the wing, from the perimeter, from the mid post, or am I just overreading this thing as usual?
I don't think that you make the number 1 overall pick based on trying to compete now. I think that you're making this pick based off of who you think the best player is, who you think the best long-term player is. Orlando's not that close to competing in the East. Like, let's be real with it. Maybe if Paolo is good next year, they could make a run at the 10, make a run at the play-in. But I see this more as being they just evaluated Paolo Banchero to be the number 1 player in the draft, as many people within the media sphere and within the NBA team side did. They absolutely did. Like, it is not a situation where the top 2 guys on everyone's board are Jabari Smith and Chet Holmgren. It's like that on my board. I absolutely like Chet Holmgren and Jabari just a little bit more because I think their games are a little bit more scalable to winning. But I also think Paolo is probably the best shot creator in this class. And for scouts on the NBA side, executives on the NBA side that value shot creation above all, that's why this guy is the number 1 overall pick right now. Paolo Banchero, number 1, the Orlando Magic.
Not mad at it. So we need a camera. I know they're having a party. I need a shot of Andrew Schlecht. I do. This is his time. OKC pick is in. Here we go. We're doing the strut to the altar here. Hitting mute. Let's go ahead.
Okay, so we got Silver going up to the mic. Oklahoma City up at number 2. The expectation here throughout the process has been Chet Holmgren. The expectation was that Jabari Smith would not be on the board.
Let's go, Chet Holmgren, Gonzaga goes number 2. Long been mocked here. Oklahoma City gets their guy. Fits everything that they do. I love the pairing. Chet said during the whole pre-draft thing that he wanted, or at least his camp was saying he wanted to be there. He liked the city. He liked the franchise. He liked the organization. He liked the way they did stuff, how they're building, how it could be a building block of what they're doing. I love it. And I love it that it's a little bit out of the public spotlight too. Obviously, you're an NBA team, you can't hide, but you're not going to be on national TV every single game. so he can develop in time. It doesn't have to be a thing where from day one he has to step in and be option one on that team. And it's appealing to me because when he's at Gonzaga, he averaged 14 and just under 10 rebounds, 3-ish blocks, shot 40% from three. There's so much more that he can do. There's so much more stuff that we saw on the grassroots circuit with him going off the dribble, being an offensive hub with trailing the play and finishing out of the dunker spot and doing stuff in the mid-range, making some passing. He bought into what his role was at Gonzaga. He was a third or fourth option. He was okay with that. If he's just what he was at Gonzaga as a third or fourth option, that's still a guy I like at the number 2 pick. I would have taken him number 1. If he reaches all these things that put together, we say he gets a little bit stronger, he takes it off the dribble a little bit better. If those things come together, he's going to be an unbelievable talent, even more so that we've seen in the public eye here while he's in college.
Can you just speak to, look, you've spent more time than anyone around Chet Holmgren among people in the public sphere, right? Like, let's just be real about that. He was on the Under Armour circuit where you like literally work and coordinate events year round. You've known Chet for years now at this point. Can you just speak to his competitiveness and his professionalism and all of the intrinsic things that he has as a prospect that make him so special?
It reminds me of that the GIF, the meme, whatever, the pictures going around of a guy sending an X-ray with a dog in him. He's like, "What's that?" He's like, "Oh, I got that dog in me." Chet Holmgren has that dog in him. Don't let the size, don't let him being skinny fool you. He is as physical as you can imagine for someone who's 7 feet tall, weighs less than 200 pounds, and has a 7'5" or 6" wingspan. He just keeps going, man. Like on offense, on defense. If he gets dunked on, he's back up the next play. He doesn't care. I've seen Chet get dunked on a dozen times. And a lot of times with prospects and players, they get dunked on. The next play, they kind of shy away. Like, no, I'm good. Making a business decision. Chet's business decision is like being in traffic, like being in the area. I'm going to be around the rim. I'm going to block your shot. And when he gets going and starts talking to it a little bit and letting you know that he's going to score down the other end, he's a different guy. And playing with Jalen Suggs on Grassroots Sizzle on our circuit, and then he was kind of robbed of that grassroots season to be the number 1 guy because it was the COVID year. We saw the clips of it, and we saw the bits of it when we played Amani Bates on national TV, and he was the guy taking off the dribble. Called timeout. He's like, "I'm that dude. That's me. I'm that dude. This is my thing right here." That's what you can expect from him. Seriously. I mean, even if he gets
literally
on, he's going to hit a 3 and tell you afterwards, like, "Yeah, I'm going to get you next time. Watch."
There are multiple clips of him going around doing media for the NBA draft saying, "Who do you think the best player in the NBA is?" And he goes, "Me in 2 months." Like, love the guy. He's just the best. Let's talk about the fit with Oklahoma City, though, because we got to keep moving.
We're moving
here. I love this fit. I think it's absolutely critical that for Oklahoma City to build in the vision that they've wanted to build in over the course of the last little while, they needed a guy like Chet Holmgren. They want to have 5 guys on the court at all times that can grab and go on the break, start the offense, can knock down shots. They want to play 5 out in the half court offensively. Chet Holmgren is going to allow you to do that. But the thing is that it's really hard to find guys that can do that also can hold up defensively. And Chet Holmgren, I think, has potential to be an all defense caliber player. I've never seen someone that has his anticipation defensively. It's unbelievable. The way that he reads plays coming from the weak side, the way that he reads plays coming from like the weak side elbow, his pick and roll positioning is absolutely elite for someone who just turned 20 years old. He is a staggeringly impressive, intelligent prospect for the Oklahoma City Thunder. I absolutely adore this pick in every way because it actualizes everything that Oklahoma City has built under Mark Daigneault over the course of the last couple of years.
And still ways to go. I want to be very, very clear about that. I'm taking this guy 1. They're taking him 2. Year 1, at the end of year 1, if you think that he's the 8th best player, you start saying it's a bust, tweet about why we did this. You're not here for the whole experiment. This is going to be a multi-year thing. Yes, can his body withstand more weight? Can it withstand the physicality of playing in the NBA 82-plus games a year? That's stuff that we're going to find out. He played at USA Basketball last year with grown men. It was MVP of U19. People would argue it should have been Victor Wembanyama, but Jaden Ivey was there. We saw he at least held his own at times against bigger, stronger players. This is a process, and Oklahoma City's committed to theirs. They have 1 million picks. This is a great guy to build around as a building block for the future.
Okay, and we're closing in on Houston soon, right?
We are. Pick is in. Waiting for the strut, the silver strut, but the pick is in.
Well, how did we start on the silver strut?
I don't
how
know.
is this
Let's
thing
just
that
a
we're
little
doing here?
alliteration. You can rename it if you want as we go here.
No, I'm in on it. I dig it. I'm here for the silver strut. I just wanted to know.
Kind of needs his own entrance music when it hits. It's like, oh, here he comes again.
Better suit.
Like,
people in the comments, better suit, Matt Pennie's or Adam Silver's?
I'm gonna go with Adam Silver's. His is probably significantly more expensive. This is for my cousin's wedding, and I think I like have my name on the inside here somewhere. It says my name. But
important question.
It's still Adam
Did you wear this? Did you wear the suit to Rothstein's wedding?
Not this one. No, similar color, but not this one. Pick is in. Yeah. Here we go. Adam Silver. Let's do it. Houston Rockets drafting 3rd overall.
Yeah, the Houston Rockets, from what I gather, I thought that they really liked Paulo Banchero. I don't know that this is a surprise to them, but I think that I don't know that there will be disappointment because you're ending up with Jabari Smith, but I think they probably wanted Paulo Banchero, to be honest.
Yeah, they probably do, but it's okay, right? We talked here. I love the fit. Like, I love the fit in Houston, how he's going to be able to play right away as a floor spacer. He's going to help Jalen Green even off the ball, too. Jalen Green wants to create. Those driving lanes are going to be a lot more open when you have a guy you have to hug up to on the perimeter who's going to shoot less than 40% from NBA 3 for sure, but he'll get there to be mid-30ish his rookie year, I would imagine. I love his intensity. I think he brings a chip on his shoulder to that locker room, too, where he bought in all the time in Auburn. Did he have the ball in advantageous places all the time on offense? No, he didn't. But he didn't huff and puff. He yelled at the bench a little bit, but Bruce Pearl talked a lot about how he loved that fire that he had. That, like, you cross those lines into practice, you cross those lines into games, he was a different player. They played him on top of the press. They played him on the wing a little bit in the post, in the paint. The things he needs to work on. I like the handle get tighter. I like him to create a little bit more off the dribble. The synergy numbers and advanced stats will tell you that the few number of twos they've taken is alarming. I just argue it's more of kind of like the system and what he was asked to do, too. There's more to his game, similar to Chet Holmgren, that he showed at Auburn, just because he played into what Bruce Pearl and they wanted to do. Great season. Ended up being number 1 in the country. Disappointing finish, losing an NCAA tournament. But I love him, too. I'd be happy with him at number 3.
So Jabari Smith has my favorite moment from this college basketball season when against Syracuse, he came down and made like multiple shots in a row and then just immediately looked at Jim Boeheim and started screaming at him. I don't remember what he said exactly, but like it was along the lines of, how in the fuck are you guarding this guy? Are you letting me guard this guy? Or this guy guarding me, basically. It was unbelievable. Second thing, he's my favorite move in this class. Like he'll try
I love this. You talked about this in your draft guide too. I agree.
Yeah, he'll go left-hand dribble, he'll spin, and then he'll rise up in turn with his left foot forward, right foot behind, so wrong-footed in terms of his ability to be aligned as a right-handed shooter, and then he'll realign in midair, and because his release point is so high, you have a smile on your face. What
keep going. Keep talking. I'll
okay.
Jump in a minute. Just some good witty comments and banter here that I want to share.
Okay. He will rise up and realign in midair, and the shot is basically unguardable. Like for someone who's 6'10" with that high release point, who shoots as well as he does, he's going to be able to get to that shot almost whenever he wants. I think he's been a bit underrated as a shot creator, in my opinion. I'm impressed. I'm very, very impressed with Jabari Smith. I am a fan. And I think that a big part of the 2-point stuff is that he takes a lot of mid-range jumpers. And on top of that, he didn't have guards that created easy 2-point shots for him. A lot of the time, the synergy stuff is a little bit contextless in terms of like bigs that are creating shots around the basket. He had to self-create almost everything going toward the rim in half-court settings. So that number is obviously going to be just a little bit lower, I think.
Yeah, totally. And when I saw him live, when I saw them play Kentucky at Auburn, he had a few plays where he jab stepped and just like kind of shot over the top of a guy who wasn't small. He was still like 6'6", and it was like there was no chance to block that. Once he had a little bit of separation and creation space, it was a done deal. So if he does that a little bit more and adds like a counter into a 2-dribble pull-up or one more dribble and go to the rim and dunk it, great game, great all-around game. Modern forward that you strive to get. Sacramento pick is in. I was laughing because someone tweeted at me, is Poku and Chet Sam Vecenie's dream front court? So I laughed.
Yes.
To share that with you.
Yes. The answer is yes. We got Poku. We got Chet.
Are they
we
the
got our Slender
Spider-Man
Man
gif,
front
like
court.
pointing at each other? Like, wait a minute, are you the
Yeah,
same?
where's Schlecht? Schlecht. If
he's
Schlecht is
yelling,
not in
he's
here,
probably
I'm sure.
still
He's
yelling.
doing his own thing.
They're
But
probably
like,
moved on and trying to figure out the 12th pick. If we move up, are we getting the 4th pick? Are we getting 5th? Whatever. He's probably losing it.
yeah, but Schlecht, I need you to go create a Spider-Man GIF with Chet Holmgren's face and Poku's face.
Put it on a t-shirt.
Or,
I'll buy it. I'll be the first
Alex
one.
Spears, someone like that, please. Okay.
All right, so the pick is in here. Sacramento Kings. Some have argued this is where the draft starts. Let's see where we go here.
And it looks like there's been a report that they're keeping it, right? So they're keeping number 4. Matt Pennie is silent because he's watching on TV. His face is fucking hilarious for people that are watching on the stream.
The Kings the Kings took Keegan Murray from Iowa.
Okay, let's do it.
Very, very high on as someone who averaged 24 points per game, ran it up all year long, shot nearly 40% from 3. He was unbelievable in transition, got so much better and rode into that role as the primary scorer post Luka Garza. Wasn't somebody who just did it against non-conference players, did it in the Big Ten, did the Big Ten tournament, had like 6 threes in a game or 8 threes in a game. The best line of the pre-draft process, I'm a 21-year-old, an 18-year-old's body, very late bloomer, left and went to DME Academy in Florida, considered going to JUCO, came back, a great high-character kid. He's a worker, said really all he does is play basketball and some video games here and there. I love this. It's hard for me because still the guy I want is Jaden Ivey. But I love Keegan Murray, so the Kings are putting like my brain in like a weird place where I love the pick for Keegan. I still think probably Ivey's the guy. So let's talk Keegan Murray to the Kings before we go on to the next point I got here.
So to me, this I don't know, like this.
Come on, get excited. He's good. We love him. He's had a great year. I dragged you. I pulled you to like him, and you still put him 8th in your draft guide. And we'll argue about that forever. But you had him like 10th or 12th. You came around, sell everybody else who's still on the fence who just says, hey, this is just a productive player. How does this work?
So, like, look, I think he's probably going to be something along the lines of Tobias Harris, who has averaged 18 points a game, 6 rebounds, 3 assists, and shot like 48, 40, and 86 in terms of shooting splits over the course of the last 5 years. If you get that guy at number 4, you're not disappointed, I don't think, right? Like, no. I think you're probably going to be pretty happy. And I think that Keegan Murray is going to be able to step in relatively soon and be able to play. Now, the problem is that I have Jaden Ivey a full tier ahead. Honestly, like if a team would have taken Keegan Murray at 5, I would get that. I have Keegan in the same tier as the rest of these guys other than Jaden. Like, I'm cool with it. And he fits what Sacramento could need. Like, you pair him with Harrison Barnes in between he and Domantas Sabonis. You have these quick guards in De'Aaron Fox and Davion Mitchell. They're going to get him the ball, and he's going to be able to run out in transition with De'Aaron Fox. They're going to have Domantas Sabonis as the trailer to reset their offense whenever things get going. I get it. Like, I do. I worry about the defensive fit in terms of foot speed with Domantas Sabonis to a very strong level to where I actually don't know how good of a fit this, like, we can talk about the positional
I agree
fit,
with that.
right? Yeah. Of Jaden Ivey and just taking multiple guards. And that's a problematic fit. We should also talk about the fact that I don't love the fit of Keegan Murray and Domantas Sabonis at the 4 and the 5 because of the foot speed. Offensively, I think it's going to go fine. And I think Sacramento is going to be probably a top 10 offense, like, relatively soon, if not even like next year. I really, really, really worry about the defense with these guys, though.
I do too. And that's why I rallied for a long time. You haven't been to the playoffs since 2006, a 16-year drought. Take the best guy on the board. I can't say this enough. I love Keegan Murray. I have him 5th. I wish I could have had him higher. I really do. Still, Jaden Ivey probably works. And I know that's not the cleanest pairing with De'Aaron Fox. And either of those guys really want to play defense too much either. Please, Detroit, please take Jaden Ivey. I need a backcourt of Jaden Ivey and Cade Cunningham. I need somebody off the ball with him to be able to boogie and he can take a few plays off and not have to do everything. I was disappointed when Detroit kind of fell out of that top 3 because I thought they'd get a big or maybe Ivey. Maybe they really wanted him as the guy. We've heard rumblings. Maybe it's Shaedon Sharpe. Jalen Duren has gotten some crazy late buzz here too. I just, before it even happens, I'm saying I would love the pairing of I've overused this, but like the fire and ice of the different styles that you have between Cade Cunningham and Jaden Ivey. I said the same thing about Tyrese Halliburton and Jaden Ivey. They're so different that you keep the defense on their heels, because if you're all frantic, speeding around, covering Jaden Ivey, and then you have the slow pace of Cade that hits a guy off a backdoor on a bounce pass, and then a Cade the next time, you fall asleep, Jaden Ivey hits the Baja Burst and takes off, and you hit him. It's a different game. It opens up so many different things for the Pistons.
Well,
it looks.
Here's the thing.
I'll say this too in the background. Don't want to read too far into it. Jaden Ivey has his hands down on his head, looks emotional. I'm hoping it's foreshadowing for this next pick here.
Well, let's close on Sacramento real quick, because I don't even think the pick is in yet, is it?
Pick is in. No strut yet.
Pick is in.
Quick.
Okay, let's close on Sacramento real quick. Look, Keegan Murray's a great player. Keegan Murray is going to be a valuable piece for Sacramento moving forward. I think that the obvious move, if you're taking Keegan Murray or taking someone in that tier, is to trade back. Right. And I think Monty McNair is a smart guy. I think that he is very smart when it comes to value. I wonder about some things here with the Kings, is what I will say. I'm very intrigued by what the Kings do moving forward here. Do they try and add another veteran piece? Maybe. Like, I think that's pretty possible. Yeah. This is a team that seems like they're clearly trying to go and win sooner rather than later, because they haven't made the playoffs in a decade and a half. So, we'll see what happens here.
All right. So the pick is in. We haven't no strut yet, but Jaden Ivey is his head down at the table. I'm feeling good. I think I like my favorite fit so far. If this happens, come on, do it. All right, the strut. Here we go. Hit and mute. Sam, it's your show for the next 10 seconds.
It's my show here for the next 10 seconds. I mean, have you guys seen the thumbnail that Jacob and Zach created? Like, doesn't Matt Pennie just look like a Dunder Mifflin employee, as I believe that Zach so eloquently put it?
You know what's the fun? So Jaden Ivey goes to Detroit. I love this. Give me all the stock, the pairings, whatever. A quick Dunder Mifflin note. When I was in college, people likened me to Jim Halpert. I got that a lot. You're Jim from The Office. The last 3 weeks, I've had 3 different people from different walks of life say, you look like a lot like that guy from The Hangover that was also in The Office. I'm like, when did I become Ed Helms? That's fine.
Yeah, I'm a little bit. It's the hair, maybe, I think.
It's
like
the long
hair,
I get. The hair, yeah. Whatever. I'm old. I'm washed. Yeah. But let's celebrate
Jaden Ivey. You're up.
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah. No, you're up here. I started with Keegan.
So this is a fit that I've talked about for a while. I absolutely love the fit of Cade Cunningham and Jaden Ivey as the backcourt of the future for the Detroit Pistons. The reason for that is Jaden excels in transition. He excels with his ability to get downhill. The thing that Cade is somewhat questionable about is his ability to beat a guy off the bounce going in a straight line. Like, he needs to dance with the ball a little bit. Jaden, there's no dancing. He's just zooming and fucking going to the basket. Like, his first step is absolutely exceptional. He gets downhill absolutely like that. I think that's exactly what the Detroit Pistons, with the core of guys like sorry, I just got a text about Keegan Murray and was laughing. With a core of Cade Cunningham, Sadiq Bey, Isaiah Stewart, guys that aren't crazy athletes. I think that getting a guy like Jaden Ivey, who can zoom, who can pick up the pace, I think is great. I also love the idea of using Jaden Ivey in a similar role to what he had at Purdue, actually, where he was the second side creator, where, Cade's going to bend the defense. He's going to dance. He's going to get into the paint because he's so effective at that. And then he's going to swing it over to Jaden Ivey. It's going to be impossible for teams to stay in front of him. You're going to be scrambling. You're going to be trying to get back in front of Ivey, and you're going to be in constant scramble mode as a defense. I love this fit. I think it's fantastic. Jaden Ivey, number 5 to the Detroit Pistons.
Right. So I'll say this too. There's NBA scouts and people that love Cade Cunningham, but they sometimes argue, like you said, sometimes they argue, is he actually your primary creator, right? Is he actually the guy that needs to be on the ball off the time because he can't create that initial separation? Now, crunch time, you have 2 different options where I want Cade to have the ball in his hands. They can both sort of play off the ball. Like, you can have that weak side of, all right, swung over there to the right. Here comes Jaden Ivey. He's going to drive and kick. Somebody has to help. Now Cade has a step on his man. He can drive and kick out to Sadiq Bey, who's still a solid shooter. And they have cap room. So now Now, let's say they sign DeAndre Ayton, who's been rumored to go there. If you're 3-4 guys that you're rolling out there is Cade Cunningham, Jaden Ivey, Sadiq Bey, and DeAndre Ayton, you got a lot better in the offseason.
Totally. And then on top of it, there's some talk about them trying to get another guard, right? Like I've seen Colin Sexton's name bandied about. I wonder if this changes that a little bit, because I don't really know that you need someone like this now that you have Jaden Ivey. But I adore the pick. I think that Jaden Ivey is a phenomenal fit with the Detroit Pistons. Now, at number 6, we have the Indiana Pacers. And
are they heartbroken of what's happened here the last couple picks?
Maybe possibly. I think they did really want, I've written this previously. I think they wanted Keegan and Jaden for sure. But I also think that they had an understanding that it was unlikely that those two would fall to 6, and that to move up, they would have to probably get 4.
So for your last second reaction here, prediction, the pick is in. Any names? My guess would be somebody who played out in Arizona.
That's my guess as well. Probably Ben Mathurin.
Yeah. And you know what? Kind of a hedge, because Shaden Sharpe played high school in Arizona. So if it goes the other way, I'll be like, see, gotcha. Wow. Hey, boom. Let's go. No, but I was referring to Ben Mathurin is my pick here. Another guy crushed pre-draft, so I would not be surprised.
Yeah, like I've heard that the Pacers, I'm sorry, like that there isn't a ton of clarity for people within the league. Like Ben Mathurin went and killed workouts. He killed workouts in Detroit, killed workouts in Indiana. Was absolutely phenomenal every place that he went. But yeah, wait, do we have a pick here, Matt?
Stand by, strut.
The silver strut. Here we go. We got it. Here it comes. Matt Pennie's face glued to the TV.
Oh, we got this one right, Sam. Bennedict Mathurin is off the board to the Indiana Pacers. This came about a few weeks ago that he was sort of becoming their target there. They fell in love with his interview process, with how he approached the pre-draft. He was in unbelievable shape. He ripped apart everybody that's put in front of him. I didn't just hear that from one team. That was multiple teams, and been through it. And I'll let you talk about his background, his personal story. He was humbled, as you've called out, his freshman year at Arizona. He went back. He got a lot better. He added more than just being a 3-and-D guy. He was a lot more assertive. He was better in transition. I want him to be better even coming off screens and making a little bit quicker decisions. He's the best when it's 2 to 3 dribbles. It's not 5 to 6. I want him to play a little bit more defense, but for the immediacy of shot making, I like that fit with the Pacers. And now you can really spread out the floor with Chris Duarte, with Tyrese Halliburton. Who knows what happens with Malcolm Brogdon, but either way, a good shooter to add to the core that you have.
Yeah, I love it. This is a guy that I think we've kind of underrated his star potential. I had him at number 5 on my board. This would have been my pick here if I was the Indiana Pacers. He is very young. Like he is like 5 or 6 months younger than Dyson Daniels, who's a guy that like is a one and done. He's like under a year younger than Shaden Sharpe, if I remember correctly. Like he just turned 20 years old. So Ben Mathurin is someone that has improved his ball skills drastically. He hit 40% from 3 last year, and he did it off the catch. He did it off of movement. I think he probably would have been, like Matt said, he kind of got humbled last year. I think he probably would have been a first-round pick had he come out last year, to be honest.
He would have. I mean, we talked about him being in the 20s, but you had called out in podcasts in the past that like he took his medicine, though. He said, okay, I have to go back and work on X, Y, Z if I want to be in the top 10. How do I make that leap up to the next level?
And the big things were handling the ball, being more of a threat off the bounce, being able to relocate and shoot off the bounce, being able to drive, jump stop, make decisions on the fly. I think that's the thing that went really underrated about him over the course of the second half of his season at Arizona. Really, really good passer, really high level passer now. Once he gets into the paint, like not Tyrese Halliburton level or not even Jaden Ivey level, because Jaden can make some reads that I think are pretty real, but if you look at the assist numbers, like Ben Mathurin averaged pretty damn near the same number of assists that Jaden Ivey did over the back half of their seasons. So yeah, I love this fit. He does need to work on defense. Like right now, and this could have been role. This could have been a number of things, right? There could be a number of reasons why he just maybe didn't have the energy because he was asked to do so much at Arizona, but he wasn't really a second and third effort guy on defense. And I think that he will need to do that in the NBA. Mathurin, this is a great fit to Indiana. I love a backcourt of him, Tyrese Halliburton, Chris Duarte. These guys are all very skilled, very good shooters. really can dribble, pass, shoot at a high level. This is a good, fun core for the Pacers, and I'll be interested to see what they do with some of the veterans now moving forward, such as Malcolm Brogdon. If I was them, I'd be trying to extend Miles Turner as much as I could.
Yeah.
I like the idea of using him, because he's not that far off of the developmental timeline of some of these guys, especially Chris Duarte, who is probably like Miles Turner's
6 years older.
to be honest. Yeah.
Get old, stay old, baby.
On top of that, like, I think that Miles is a really good player, and he would help the development of all of these younger guards as well, with his ability to space the floor, with his defensive ability around the basket. So I'm a big fan. I love this pick. Ben Mathurin, Indiana Pacers. Any other thoughts, Matt?
No, you nailed it. That's a good coverage there. I had that, like, that was one of the picks that I think a lot of people mocked correctly. Like that buzz had been out there. This is, now that we're closing this book, and as we've gone to commercial here on the live feed, there's 2 minutes left till Portland makes their pick. I'm really like into this one. We've heard some Dyson Daniels. I could see Shaedon Sharpe. How dependent on this in your mind on Damian Lillard? How much say does he have in this pick, knowing that he wants to win? He wants to win now. Probably doesn't want a project, but I don't know how many non-projecty guys we have right now.
Yeah, it's a great question. I think that it's probably going to be one of Shaedon Sharpe or Dyson Daniels. I don't know which one it's going to be. I've been going back and forth, as I mentioned, on the mock draft I did, the second to last mock I did. Shaedon Sharpe is a guy that Mike Schmitz, the new assistant general manager in Portland, is a big fan of. And if Mike is going to have say there at all, if Mike has some sway in the room already, which he should, and I'm sure he will as the assistant GM, Shaedon Sharpe is a real tangible option here. On top of that, I will note, sources throughout the league will tell you that Joe Cronin, who was the assistant general manager under Neil Olshey until Neil Olshey was dismissed and Joe Cronin got the head job, they would tell you that Joe Cronin was the guy, that would kind of go for the upside guy, that he was the, player that, or the guy that would be like, yeah, let's do it. Like, let's take Anthony Simons. Let's take Greg Brown, the high level athletes, right? On the other side, you have Dyson Daniels, and I think Dyson Daniels, has a very high level potential to be a role player, but, we'll see where it goes.
Who I've argued and discussed here is even better. Like, I don't think he's a point guard. I think he's a good passer from the 2 to the 3, and you have Anthony Simons, you have Dame Lillard. That's like a bigger guy at 6'7", 6'8", who can help defensively, but also can make those passing reads from the side and not from the top of the key. So I get it as a pick. I'm a little bit lower on Dyson Daniels than you. Looking at my board, I have him 11th. This is not the 11th pick, but hey, it's in that range for the fit. I could see it if they go that way.
Yeah, do you even have Sharpe?
We're strutting. We're strutting.
Do you have Sharpe at number 7 even? Like, are you...
Yes. Hold on, stand by.
Okay, we're standing by. Matt Pennie, letting us know who the pick is.
Shaedon Sharpe.
Let's go. Okay, so my initial instinct on this was right. I'm very angry that I switched this in the mock because
it was right.
I had a feeling that this would be the direction that Mike would go, and I kind of got talked off of it from people who thought it would be Dyson Daniels at 7. Right. Look, I mean, we literally have like evidence of audio evidence of Mike talking about.
You did a deep dive into this, man. You did. This is some of your best work. Honest to God.
Yeah.
Like, wait a minute. He was on a podcast. You said yesterday. You sent me a podcast from like May 12th, before Mike was even an assistant GM. Said, "Look, man, I found this." I'm like, what? And on it, he was saying how much he loves Shaedon Sharpe. He buys it, the build, the frame, the mold. I have Shaedon,
and particularly buys the fit for Portland. To be clear, like, it was not just I'm just a fucking idiot. Like, why would I move him off of Dyson Daniels? Okay, so Shaedon Sharpe, give the breakdown on Shaedon Sharpe, please, Matt, in terms of who he is as a player.
We joke and we overuse the word upside. It's turned into a drinking game for some people during the draft, but he is Mr. Upside. He is Mr. Mystery Man at 6'6" with a 6'10" wingspan. An NBA build and frame and body, as some would say, can create off the dribble, off the bounce. An exceptionally explosive athlete, especially in transition. As a guy on the weak side of the floor, when the ball is shifted over to him, he rips through, takes one dribble, and tries to rip the rim off. shot it really, really well his last grassroots season in the EYBL, over 42% from three, I believe. Looked good workouts, but he didn't play Kentucky. So that's what the mystery is. He enrolled there. Is he going to play? Is he not going to play? So all the film and tape that us in the outside world had to evaluate was him playing in the grind session, as they show highlights behind me, in Arizona. It was in back gyms in Augusta, Georgia. It's a different barometer and a different lens that we'd look through from other guys, but he fits the bill as the type of guy and wing at the 2 or 3 that NBA teams covet, and Portland's taking a dice roll on it. They're saying this is the guy that fits kind of what we want to do going forward. If he hits, he could be a top 3 guy in the draft. There's been analysts that say this is the guy that should be number 1 if he played in college. I tend to disagree. I think he'd probably be in the same range if he went back to school. The process has been clunky, but credit to him and his team. He's a top 10 pick here. He's going 7th to a great organization that develops their guys. So kudos to that whole crew.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, this organization does have a real track record of getting guys better since Damian Lillard has been there. Just being real with it, right? You look at Anthony Simons frankly, they have gone through this exact process that they're about to go through before with Shaedon Sharpe when they drafted Anthony Simons out of prep school 4 years ago. I guess that was, right? That would have been 3 or 4 years ago. I think 4 years ago now. They've gone through this. They know what it takes. They know how to bring a guy along slowly. On top of it, like, I don't know that there was anyone on the board here that was like significantly going to help them in their playoff push next year. Maybe Dyson. Like, I think Dyson probably could have played real minutes, but at the end of the day, I really do think that Shaedon Sharpe is a real, legitimate shot creator who, at the very least, I think will be able to get buckets off the bench. I'm not 1,000% convinced about his half court ability to get to the rim. I think that he decelerates really well. I don't love the first step quite as much as other people do in the half court. I think you also see that a little bit on defense, where he can get beaten a little bit more often than what you would expect for someone who is this high level of an athlete out in transition. I'll be interested.
But that power that he has when you see the transition, that extra gear. So I think that's there in the half court, but you have to unlock it. Also, a guy that hasn't played competitive games in 5-on-5 for 2 years. So if you think he's going to come in and start, he's not. Like, he's going to need reps. I wouldn't be against throwing the G League, and it's not a slight. I'm saying, like, get your reps.
Well, here's the thing: the Blazers don't have a G League team.
Yeah, but they partner with somebody, right? I mean, they don't have like their hands on it. Yeah. But whatever. I wouldn't throw this kid into the fire because he is a kid. Like, he didn't play in the SEC this year. He played in practice.
Well, and here's the thing: the Blazers have not done that previously. They don't throw guys into the fire. They keep them up with the big team, typically, is what they've done in the past when Neil Olshey was running the show. And they let them learn from the younger guys. They did this with Nasir Little. They did this with Anthony Simons.
Good point.
They continue to do it. Like, they did it with Gary Trent as well. They have a very good track record of figuring out how to best make these young guys work.
And the Simons one is right on the money, because after the first year, I talked to people like, Simons makes sense. Like, no, they love him. They love him. They don't want to rush it. They know he's really, really good, can score the basketball, but they don't have to play him 30 minutes a night there. He was able to do that when Damian Lillard was out last season. We have the strut. New Orleans Pelicans are on the clock. Adam Silver is walking to the podium. Let's get nuts. Let's see what we got.
All right. What do we got, Matt Pennie? What do we got? He's staring. He refuses to speak because he's on mute right now. And
all right, you are on the clock. Dyson Daniels from the land down under, Sam Vecenie.
Yeah, it's Dyson's great. I'm a big fan. Dyson is the best guard defender in this class, depending on like how you want to define Jeremy Sochan and Tari Eason in terms of like their switchability and their ability to defend out in space. I think Dyson's going to do a better job of guarding like actual guards in the NBA than anyone in this draft class. He is absolutely terrific at getting through screens. He fights, he scratches, he claws. He is also a really good decision maker. He is almost like the comparison I've been making is like, if you can imagine like Lonzo Ball going to Villanova and then teaching him like how to jump stop all the time and like get into the paint, jump stop, survey, and then like make a great decision. Not that Lonzo was a bad decision maker or anything. I'm looking at Matt's face and he's just like bugging out right now.
I'm processing. I'm listening. I'm watching. I'm texting. Who's up next? I'm just it's a scramble, pulling equations out of the sky. Keep going. You're right
the big thing with Dyson is he is a phenomenal headman passer. He's a phenomenal playmaker. He's incredibly unselfish. Makes cross corner kick out reads. Throws lobs with real touch. I think this is a perfect fit for New Orleans. Like, this is a team that lost Lonzo Ball last offseason to the Chicago Bulls.
Yeah.
Now they get Dyson Daniels, who is essentially like a cheaper replacement for Lonzo.
Esque. Yeah.
Which fits in like a pretty real way. Dyson's 6'7", 6'10.5" wingspan. He is he's someone that is very switchable. He fits a lot of what the Pelicans look for in terms of versatility. Yeah, this is all around great for Dyson, I think.
It is. I would have liked them to add a little bit more shooting to that core. When we did our prospect videos, one of the fits we did like was the New Orleans Pelicans for Dyson Daniels. A little surprised. I think with Portland taking Shaedon Sharpe the pick before, it threw like a little bit of wrinkles and stuff because a lot of the buzz has been Ousmane Dieng was the guy here at 8 for the New Orleans Pelicans. That didn't happen.
No, not over Dyson. Yeah, no, it's always been Dyson over.
So that's my point though. The pick before Dyson Daniels, if he had gone 7th, I think then 8th would have been Ousmane. Then the Spurs would have had a decision: do they take the flyer on Shaedon Sharpe? Do they go a different direction? They go for a big. There's a lot of different possibilities there. I like Dyson Daniels. I'm not as high on the defense as you are per se. I do like the pairing kind of that they have in the backcourt, and then they were a good team last year. Like that's why like I wanted them to take the swing. This is still a really young kid who learned on the fly, playing with the G League Ignite, came into his own the last like month of the season. It took him a while to even believe in himself. And what he did, and we're at All-Star Weekend, what I tweeted out was it's a little bit of a small thing, but he looked like he belonged. He was one of the guys that looked like an actual NBA player out there. He wasn't searching shots. Yeah. He was getting out in transition. He was making plays. He was defending. Now you put other NBA guys around him, and in other places just known for their development. It makes sense. It does. I don't know how often they're going to get up in this range again. This is a byproduct of the Anthony Davis trade, but this is an investment just as much as Shaedon Sharpe is for a younger guy in the draft that has all the tools that if they click would be a great pick for them.
Yeah, no, I think that's a really good way to put it. Again, this is someone who fits what New Orleans has looked for previously. They love these guys that have very versatile skill sets, that can defend at a high level, that are unselfish players. It is someone that I think could genuinely really help them. This is a team also that like there are rumors at the very least that they're considering moving Devontae Graham. They like positional size. They like guys that have that intersection of skill with size. I think there's a pretty real chance that he's playing at least rotation level minutes next year as a 19-year-old in the NBA. And shout out Dyson Daniels, kid from Bendigo in Australia.
Oh, here you go. I was waiting for it. I was waiting for you to like take your shirt off and have a Dyson Daniels jersey on or something.
Yeah, like 2 hours northwest of where I am right now. Yeah, just perfect. All about it. Like played for the Victorian team here where I'm at. Let's go.
Yeah, how many Australian basketball podcasts are you going to have to go on and talk about Dyson Daniels tomorrow? That's my question. Set the line at 2.5.
That's a good question. Yeah, it's probably about 2.5. I don't know, man. Like I'm trying to like log off after the draft here. Like this is where we're at. Like we need a break, baby.
Yeah, we need a break. We need to unplug. But we're plugged in now. We're at the 9th pick. San Antonio on the clock. 1:20 left here.
By the way, so like all of these picks so far, we had some inkling in terms of what was going to happen, right? Like I had it narrowed down to Portland, Shaedon Sharpe, or Dyson Daniels. Yeah. Indiana, we felt like Ben Mathurin, in all likelihood, some, potential for weirdness. We knew the Pistons liked Jaden Ivey, Keegan Murray, Ben Mathurin. We knew that the Kings had potential to take Keegan Murray or Jaden Ivey. Yeah. I don't know what the Spurs are doing here. I've heard.
I don't either. Don't ask me.
I've just heard a lot of different names, basically, is what I would say.
Yeah, they obviously going to have some big stuff because Jakob Poeltl is a free agent next year. That could happen. You've had DeJounte Murray. I was yelled at for calling him DeJounte Murray. I apologize, Spurs fans. I love you. Love Josh Primo forever. He's been mentioned in trade talks. Poeltl, who knows what they do. So do you add kind of another swingman? I've argued they've had so many of those guys in a 2-3 mold. Could add some shooting. Like that wouldn't surprise me if you had a shooter here. But I would go shooter or big. Jeremy Sochan feels like a Spursy pick. Doesn't mean it happens, but he feels
Honestly,
like very Spursy just on paper.
that's why
Dyson Daniels
mocked
did too. I mean, he's Spursy, but that's Spursy.
I will say, I've heard some who's really Spursy? Johnny Davis stuff.
Yes, he is. He is.
Like,
but it's like they just did the trade of pushing out Derek White, taking in Romeo Langford because they wanted more room, time, flexibility, and that's when Primo, all kidding aside, was in the G League. Now he's going to be expected to produce a little bit. Do you take another guard in that mold? I wouldn't. I'd go with somebody a little bit bigger, but we'll see. The pick is in here. This one is. I've said this about 8 picks. I really like this one. Like I don't have like an inkling on which way it's going to go.
Yeah. Who would you take more, Johnny Davis or Josh Primo, if Johnny Davis went to the Spurs?
Jesus, why did you do this to me? Josh Primo. Honestly, Josh Primo as much as I
wow.
like
Whoa. Let's go.
Yep. Somebody asked me that on Twitter today. I said, look, he went 12th. He wiped the floor with the G League Ignite when they played during that showcase. He's younger than like almost everybody in this draft class. The passing is better than people thought. Can play on and off the ball. Real in the turnovers. The shot will get a little bit better, but Primo's just like offensive creativity. I like more. And length, size. He's a little bit bigger than Johnny is. I love Johnny. But if they take Johnny Davis, like I have to. Yeah, I think so. If they take Johnny Davis, I have to move to San Antonio. I think I have to. That's like contractually obligation. Game theory has been fun. I'm going to live in Spurs land. I'm going to live on the river.
Well, no,
under the river.
No. You're not quitting the show. We will just do weekly updates on Josh Primo and
that's fine. I can do that anyway.
Yeah, Josh Primo and Johnny Davis.
I think this is the longest it's sort of like taken between picks here.
Okay, so
wrestling. It says it's in, but we're still awaiting the strut here. Come on, here we go. We're strutting. I'm going on mute.
We're gonna have a guest come in here soon to chat.
Oh, let's do it. I love it. Let's do it.
Yeah, Matt like hits mute because he has to listen to every pick because he's like I don't even know if he's like a draft degenerate. Like I don't know.
We went Spursy. Jeremy Sochan is the pick.
Let's go. Okay, here we go. Jeremy Sochan. Yeah, I love this pick. I'm a big Jeremy Sochan fan. I am a So fan, as I mentioned last podcast. Absolutely adore him. Absolutely adore his defensive upside. I think he has a real offensive upside as well. He's the most switchable player in this draft class. You go back and you watch his tape. The game that obviously stands out is the North Carolina game where he was, guarding Armando Bacot at times on the block. He was guarding Caleb Love and RJ Davis at times on the perimeter. It was really, truly impressive stuff. But he did this all year. Like this is just who he is. And on top of it, I think he has real upside as a creator. Like you look at some of his grab and go stuff in transition. I think that his ability to cover ground quickly, these are guys that in the past I've underrated. I think like Scotty Barnes and his ability to just cover ground at 6'9". I think that's a really, really important critical skill that just kind of goes underrated a little bit as we move through the rest of this draft cycle. I don't know. I'm a big fan of this. I'm a big Jeremy Sochan guy. I had him at number 6 on my board. This is a phenomenal pick for the San Antonio Spurs.
It is. And I was talking to a basketball person about this today a little bit, not this pick, but just sort of the mold as like, I don't see Jeremy Sochan really as a 5, but you watch what Golden State did in the playoffs. And granted, Golden State's a little different because they have 4 guys that are going to bomb from 40 feet away and like, good luck. But they went small. They ran all of the court. They did different lineups with Otto Porter. They did different lineups with Kevon Looney, as we saw here. Draymond Green is a 5 at 6'6". That style of basketball, Jeremy Sochan fits, where he can run around, defend. He's a pretty good passer. You want the jumper to come around. The free throw numbers aren't great to say that it's going to, but if he adds like another piece or two offensively, the defense does so much that's going to keep him on the floor. I know generally San Antonio is slower and bring along their guys. They won't rush that either. But I think the defense will get him on the floor faster than a traditional rookie would.
So we got an S here, folks. Coach Spins.
Oh, Spin Zone. What's going on? The Spin Zone.
What's up, guys?
How we doing?
Oh, what's going on? How's it going?
Oh, everything holding form tonight. No surprises at all. It's been great.
Have you
What
been
have
here the
you-
last 2 hours? Yeah, what's up? I feel like it's the
Yeah.
outside world. Like we were in like a bubble, and like somebody comes in, like during quarantine, you didn't see anybody for weeks. It's like, oh, a friend. How are you?
Yeah.
It's good. Hope the YouTube
One-
comment section isn't killing us too much.
Well, one thing I'll say, thank goodness we're not listening to the Kendrick Perkins player comparisons, because that's been the if
It's
I'm
on mute.
balding right here,
It's-
that's why.
Sam physically won't let me, so that's a good thing.
Yeah, no. Penny wants to like listen to the broadcast while also podcasting because he's.
I'm sorry,
person.
I'm a romantic.
Like-
I'm an NBA draft romantic. I like the sound. I like the walk. I like the pick. I like the boos, the cheers. That's what I'm here for.
Penny, you're upstaging all of us with the suit there, but I got one thing for you specifically.
Let's go.
Oh, look at this.
Can you break a story? Do we get a pick in like the top 15 now or something? Put on the hat when we trade until late first. It's been rumored for who knows how many weeks, days where we just traded a late first pick. But hey, let's get back in. Another story from the day. Coach Spins. What's your early take on the draft here? What stands out the most to you?
I actually like the fit for pretty much every team that has gone off the board in the top 9 thus far. Like a couple of surprises, but I thought with the top 3, Paolo was my number 1 throughout this entire cycle. Seeing him go to Orlando in a spot where, you know, they get a franchise changer on the offensive end is really important. Love Chet to Oklahoma City, obviously. And then I think Jabari in Houston fits really well next to Jalen Green. So liked the way the top 3 kind of worked out. Kings are kings. And then Ivy to Detroit's awesome. So like really good landing spots for those 4 guys that I had on the top 4 of my board with those big 3 and Ivy.
Where did you have Keegan Murray on your board?
I had him 8th.
Ooh, you're Sam.
There we
You got
go.
Sam.
See?
Great. No, get out of here. Can I add
There
a
we
4th
go.
person? Who
We
can I
like
get that
it. We
as
like
Keegan
Keegan
Murray?
Murray.
I know an NBA scout that had
like-
Keegan Murray first. Can I call him? Can I get him on the board in the 4th spot?
Yeah.
He won't answer my call. They drafted somebody else.
You do not know a scout that had Keegan Murray first.
Promise.
That is.
We'll talk offline.
I have some concerns. I'm going to be
Yeah,
honest.
Oh man.
Oh man.
So-
Okay, so the pick is in
here too. Yeah.
Matt has been talking to us about the silver struts as Adam Silver goes up to the podium here. So, yeah, what do you think of Jeremy Sochan, Spins? Because this is where we're at. We're Jeremy Sochan, the number 9 overall pick to the San Antonio Spurs. Are you a fan?
Yeah, I am a fan. I mean, I think the Spurs are building their roster around just getting as many versatile, long defensive guys as they can and banking on at some point somebody's going to hit and become that top overall offensive option. Maybe it's Primo, Penny, but there's going to be one guy that kind of steps up there and becomes the guy. So I get it for San Antonio. Like if you're not enamored with anybody on the board to become that number 1 offensive option, keep contributing to your identity and going for a switchable, versatile defender. Like I would fear going up against a team that has playing on the wings or the backcourt, DeJounte Murray, Devin Vassell, and Jeremy Sochan. Like that's a nightmare to try to score on.
Oh, it really is. And it has so much versatility. Like you can play super small. You can play big with Sochan next to Pirtle in the front court and just be really, really tough defensively because of how good Sochan is rotating over from the weak side. Pirtle's obviously a very good drop coverage defender. Penny, do we have the silver strut or are we rolling?
No,
here?
we're good. We're showing highlights of various players here. I'm trying to also process because I have subtitles on. They're showing Anthony Davis shoot. I'm like, did he get traded to Washington? What are we doing here? The pick is in. We're zoomed in. Hold on. Are we getting a strut here? Oh, we're strutting, boys. So I'm going to hit mute. Okay. You guys keep talking. Watch my dumb face react to this.
Yeah. What do you think of Sochan on offense, Adam?
Yeah, definitely a work in progress. But I think the shooting is actually going to be okay. So
let's go. Go ahead. Make the pick. There it is. Boom.
Johnny Davis. Yeah.
Culture, winning, commitment, defense. I love it. They need
You're just saying words right now. Synergy,
I am.
rectangle.
Squares, circles, diamonds, and that's what Johnny Davis is. He is a diamond in the rough. He got a bad rap here. I think this is actually the right range. I have Johnny Davis at 7, a little bit more ambitious than a lot of people are here, but I like him in the 10 range that plays next to maybe Brad Beal. I don't know who else is there, but he's a culture type of guy that came into his sophomore year ready to play, and he guarded, he defended. The usage rate was incredibly high. I get it. People lower because is the shot real? Did he just take a lot of bad shots? Another guy I've seen a ton because he played on the Wisconsin Playground Warriors on the Under Armour circuit. What we saw offensively with the bad stuff wasn't really always who he was as a player. That was just the pieces around him. Literally played on one leg to end the season, and people just have that recency bias too of you weren't good versus Iowa State. What happened there? Well, he also put him on the back versus Colgate and kept him in that game, albeit as ugly as it was. Get him to full strength if the jump happens similar to freshman and sophomore year. I really like him. I like him in Washington. It's a good pick.
So here's my thing that I like, actually. I really like his defensive tape. Like, when I watch him, I almost think he's more weirdly like Dylan Brooks than anyone else. And like, I think
Not
Dylan
the
Brooks
athlete,
is
but yeah.
really good. He's different athletically. He's not as powerful as Dylan is, but he's more athletic and more twitchy, I think, than Dylan is. And I think that he's going to be a little bit, and Dylan got really good at getting around screens and he's great as a perimeter defender. I think Johnny's going to be a phenomenal perimeter defender in the NBA. I had him at 10. He was the start of this next tier for me. I absolutely love this pick. I think that all of my top 9 players now are gone at this point. Now that Sochan went 9.
Yes. 9 for me as well.
Yeah. So Spins, where are you at on Johnny Davis at this point? Where did you have Johnny Davis? What do you think of his game?
Yeah, I had him at 9. Actually think that he's going to do a lot better playing next to a star player like Bradley Beal because it'll lighten the offensive burden from him. I think he's going to be fine as a catch and shoot guy. But like you, Sam, I love the defense. That's what really I've bought into with a guy like Johnny Davis. Think that the right fit next to Bradley Beal in Washington isn't just somebody that can handle the ball a little bit and allow him to take a spell on the offensive end, but someone who comes in and defends the top perimeter option for the other team. That's what Davis does. If I'm Bradley Beal, I'm actually pretty happy right now.
Yeah, I really like it. Like it's a different version of what Dyson Daniels brings to the table because offensively it's more of a scoring package as opposed to a passing and distributing package. But I don't know. Like you guys both think that Johnny Davis is probably a little bit better offensively than Dyson is, right?
I do, yeah. More well-rounded, I guess. More of a scorer. More like ready to go.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, and look, I think Dyson has real upside because Dyson's almost fucking 6'8", and that's just enormous. Like, Johnny is a little bit under 6'6", and if Dyson learns to shoot, it's really going to open up the rest of his game because of how he processes the game at such a high level offensively. Penny, do we have the pick? Is that what that was?
So I'm smiling. I'm reacting. The pick is in. No strut yet, but I'm reacting because this is the New York Knicks pick in New York. You could draft Anthony Davis. You could draft LeBron James. You could draft Larry Bird. It's going to get booed, right? Like, so I'm preparing for it. I might keep the audio on for an extra 5 seconds. The top of the board kind of left for me for guys. I'm way higher on Malaki Branham than I think you guys are. I have AJ Griffin 12th. Yeah. Mark Williams 13th, Jalen Duren 14th. We're strutting. What if you guys are the Knicks here? You're Worldwide West or whoever's pulling the strings here. Who's your pick?
Yeah, I think AJ Griffin. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean,
hometown kid. Come on home.
I'd go Duren. Yeah, I'd go Duren.
Interesting. Yeah, I get it. Like, if you're not going to re-sign Mitchell Robinson,
right? That's the big dangler.
I think you need to make the Mitchell Robinson decision tonight, though, as opposed to making it in free agency after you take someone here. So it looks like we have something here.
Yeah.
I think we're celebrating. We're talking about Kemba Walker. What do you got? Where you at, Silver? Come on here, man. Stop hiding. Okay. Here it comes. He knows the villain walk. New York. Here we go.
Here we go.
Just say there's been a trade. Watch this place explode.
It's going to be beautiful. It's going to be absolutely beautiful.
Yeah.
I love how Penny goes on mute, by the way. Like, he'll talk, like, thinking that we can see it.
Ousmane Dieng.
Whoa.
So
didn't have that on the board.
Trade.
Yeah. So in the comments here, it looks like this pick is going to be traded to Oklahoma City, according to Jacob. Do we have a confirmation on that from someone? No details yet, is what Jacob is saying. Who tweeted that? Can we get some sort of confirmation? Because I want to credit them. Multiple first round pick. What the fuck?
What was it?
You have 12. They're not taking Ousmane Dieng.
Wait, what? Ousmane Dieng's on the board. What are you talking about? What are you yelling about?
I mean, like the Knicks are taking Ousmane Dieng, but like if this was their pick and they weren't making the pick for Oklahoma City,
I panicked. I'm like, did I hear the wrong thing? What did I do wrong? So what's your problem? Because they had to leapfrog a pick to get their guy?
You give up an extra first round pick?
Was that what it was? Multiple first round picks?
Multiple firsts.
I mean, look, they have like 47 first round picks in the next 8 drafts. So like whatever, I guess. But I don't look here's the real thing. I don't have that high of a grade on Ousmane Dieng. I have him at 16 overall. I think that I'm 20. A little bit lower. Before we dive into why Spins, where do you have him?
16 or 17. Yeah.
So before we dive into why, I do just want to note there are contextual factors with Ousmane Dieng to consider. He was largely, living out of a hotel room this year in a new country where there was a language barrier, spoke English, but like there is a cultural barrier, a language barrier, coming from France down to Australia, playing for a bad team, playing for a team that literally was like not in its country for a large portion of the year. It's very similar to the Zaire Williams thing last year, where he was in, Oklahoma City is still on the clock, apparently. This might be like just multiple different first rounds.
Is this like flip-flop, snip. Is it weird though with Oklahoma City? Are they like compiling this ultimate roster of like beautiful misfit toys? Is this like Toy Story, like under Spike's bed, like all those guys like crawl out and it's like, there's Oklahoma City. Like, does it fit? Not at all. But like, absolutely at the same time. That's what I think is cool about it.
It's very clear what they want. They want guys that are big. They have positional size. They can dribble, pass, shoot, and defend. Like that's their whole thing. It's why they like Josh Giddey last year. It's why they like Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. Like this is it. This is what they do now. Like I know that when Fred Katz was on the show a couple weeks ago, we talked about the Andre Robertson and Josh Eustace All-Stars that were like 6'7" to 6'8", that like were athletes and great defenders, but didn't have any ball skills. They've gone totally away from that at this point.
Yes and no, but at the same time, we're talking about length, and I'm drawn to the Raptors press conference. It's eluding me who said the quote, but I think it was the GM, maybe assistant GM. But he said something along the lines of like, we want people who can dribble, pass, they can shoot, like great, like whatever. Is this like Raptors-y in that let's get the longest, tallest team that has decent ball skills. We'll teach them how to shoot because we believe in it. It is. I hate saying the Golden State thing because they're just so different with like their shooters, but the game has changed. Be versatile, have bigs that can be multi-spot. That's what stands out to me with sort of this pick. Would I give up multiple firsts? No, I'm also not a GM. Sam, you talk to it. When you have this many picks, you have the luxury of being able to do that if you want to. I just don't covet Ousmane Dieng that way. There's a lot of people that had him in the top 10. So maybe that was Oklahoma City said, that guy's 8. If we can get him at 11, like we got to do it. We got to leapfrog one spot.
Yeah, Spins. Can you break down Ousmane Dieng in terms of his game? I have to use the toilet. I will momentarily. But
this is like
in
toll booths, and people are like, "Where do you go to the bathroom when you're in there?" It's like, it's actually just around the corner, but you can wear a diaper if you want. Go ahead, Sam. You're off the clock. Let that cat in. Spins. Hit me on Ousmane Dieng.
We got it. So, like, first thought here is that Oklahoma City's got to be going, if they're keeping this pick at 12, I think they're going with another long-armed, lanky, like a wing that fits next to SGA, Giddey, and Chet, right? So, that's what I would think moving forward here and looking at 12 if they're keeping both. Ousmane Dieng, kind of a different type of prospect, super, super long, actually plays pretty low to the ground and has some fluidity off the bounce. I think of him as more of a really big kind of point guard, combo guard, almost like a Nick Batum-ish defender who's really best served defending smaller guys and using his length to his advantage, but very skinny, not very strong right now, and doesn't play a super physical style, like relies on floaters a lot more than he does.
It's like a weird floater too. It's like not from like 6 feet, it's from like 10 feet, like kind of like leans in and pushes it. I'll give him credit. I went back, and I think a lot of people did. He was slow to start the second half of the year. Like a lot of these guys, they're younger and they got more accustomed to the physicality. I'm worried about that. Like I'm worried about him being that size and going to the paint like an extra step and finishing through contact. Is the jumper better? It's kind of like a weird like fling across the side of the face. Defensively, is he going to be overpowered and hunted in the front court because of that frame? If they keep the pick, it gets interesting. Like now, do you take even more of a flyer on a guy like Jalen Williams, who's come out of nowhere that people are high on? That does scream Oklahoma City in a sense there too. So they get crazy and say, you know what, we need some energy. Let's take Dalen Terry, maybe. But there's a lot of good options they could go here.
I'd go Jalen Williams. I really like Jalen. I think the fit there is pretty good of having another playmaker kind of in that wing spot. I think that he shoots it well enough to be a pretty good pick, but I wouldn't be surprised by AJ Griffin either. Like another really versatile guy. At some point, Oklahoma City is going to have to build a brand new weight room, right? Like they've got too many guys that just need to hit the weight.
Oh man, you got to bring in the guy that was at Memphis back in the day, Georgia Tech, that ran the Chameleon BX or whatever. There was like the mask, didn't say who he was. Just like, we don't have weight. Just like run the hill until I tell you to stop. Like, dude, this isn't weightlifting. Just start running and you'll get bigger. I don't know. You need like an outside the box strength guy, but I think that strength coach and nutritionist has their work cut out for them too. And I like Chet during the pre-draft process telling people in interviews multiple times, like, I eat, I lift. He's just quiet. Like I eat, I lift weights. Like people don't think I do. I'm still really skinny. But all the peanut butter and jellies in Oklahoma City. That's for sure.
So,
Sam, any thoughts on this pick here? Oklahoma City, the pick is in. What do you do if you hold on to all these? What's your kind of swing? We're getting the strut. You talk on it. I'm muting. I want to hear my boy.
Yeah, I don't know who they're taking. I haven't looked. AJ Griffin is interesting to me because if you're taking a flyer on someone here who has big wing positional size, I don't mind it, to be honest. Like, I think it could make some sense there. Pennie is giving us a look saying that.
Oh, spins, brother. We are here. Jalen Williams. We called it.
Love it.
What an unbelievable ascension to be there. Holy.
So I do want to give some context here in terms of the Jalen Williams rise. So over the last 12 hours or so, because I've been awake now for 8 of those, I've gotten some texts saying like, look, I think the Cavs really like Jalen Williams. I think the Hawks really like Jalen Williams. My guess is that he goes higher than this because the teams think that they have to jump him in order to get him.
Correct.
And
I agree with that.
That's essentially what happened here. Oklahoma City, they didn't jump them with this pick, but they jumped with the previous pick using their cache of assets previously in order to go and get a guy in Ousmane Dieng that they wanted. On top of it, they now end up with Jalen Williams because they wanted the 3 guys that could really play. Spins, you wanted to talk about Jalen. I'm going to give you the floor. Tell us all about him. I
love Jalen. Absolutely love the way he plays. Think there's a really dependable floor there because he is a good passer, to be a secondary guy. And I think the word, connective tissue is a little bit overused sometimes. Yeah. But he can be that guy because he's tall, he's long. He can, in theory, defend multiple positions. And he shot about 40% from 3 on a low volume of catch and shoots this year. So a dependable floor. I see a ton of upside for a guy like him. Still growing into his body. Like, Pennie, I'm going to use this as my opportunity to ask you, what do you prefer? Guy who played quarterback in high school or a late bloomer physically who was a point guard and now turns into like this 7-foot wingspan type of guy?
Can you do both? Is that like Anthony Edwards? There's both. And I'm laughing because Jacob, who's one of our new producers, wrote in the chat like combine guy, Matt. I love that he played in the combine. There are shades of Josh Primo here because as Sam mentioned, this was probably a pick. And I don't know what Woj is saying here, if they're actually trading this or not. They jumped in and probably took him a few spots early because they're afraid of what happened behind. So the Spurs took Josh Primo at 12 because they're worried about 17, 18. They couldn't wait until like the 20s to get him. So them to come up and get their guy, I like him because he is such a classic late bloomer. Give me the guys that have the chip on the shoulder. Give me the guys who weren't ranked highly in high school. Spins, you're as dialed into the high school space as I am too. I talked to a person today from USA Basketball. And we talked about a kid who was cut. And I said, I want that kid. And you know why? Because he's going to come back in a year and be like, you cut me. I'm coming for mine. I'm going to score 15 points a game, and I'm going to rip everyone's hearts out, right? I want the guys that don't get complacent. He's been hungry. He was a lot smaller. He got bigger as time went on, kept the guard skills as he got bigger. Kind of like hiding in plain sight. Sam and I talked about him as January as a guy I liked in the 40s. This has been nuts, but I'll go back to the combine. Playing the combine, man, it works. It helps. If you can play, teams read into that like a lot. It happened with Bones Highland. It happened with Josh Primo. Now it's happening here with our boy Jalen Williams. So I'm happy for him. I love the story, and I think it's really cool what Oklahoma City's putting together. Like I like that roster significantly more after tonight than I did yesterday.
Yeah, and look at just the way that the game is evolving, right? what every team is looking for are guys who can dribble, pass, and shoot at 6'6", or not even this big, where he's like the standing reach of a power forward, right?
Right.
But guys who can dribble, pass, shoot at this size, who have like a credible potential to defend. I'm not quite as high on his defense as what I think his frame would indicate. You would think. I think that his feet can just get stuck in the mud a little bit more than what you're looking for. This is a little bit like, I really like Jalen Williams and I'm in on it. It's a little high for me. Like it's
a lot of high. I mean, I submitted my board to our buddy at the USA Today, and I had him 16th, and I was like, man, that's got to be like really high. And people started to come around on him a little bit. I just had a friend text me, is Oklahoma City becoming the West Coast Conference All-Stars with both Chet and Jalen Williams? Did Sam Presti watch Chet fall over and Jalen Williams score that bucket on and be like, I want that guy. Like put him more on the radar. He's at 40. Let's put him at 30. And then he moved up in pre-draft. Who knows? Yeah. But it's sort of inside but outside the box for Oklahoma City, for Sam Presti. I like it. You got to take swings on this in the draft. Like you use all these picks. You have a treasure chest. Use the treasure.
So I mentioned the dribble, pass, shoot aspect of Jalen Williams. I think that's the critical thing in terms of what this rise is. NBA teams are looking for guys that are this big, that can dribble, that can pass, that can shoot. Jalen was one of the best catch and shoot guys statistically this year in college basketball. He has incredible passing ability. I mean, you watch this guy throw pocket passes out of pick and roll. It's absolutely phenomenal. He's so skilled at it. And then, he can handle because he grew up as a point guard, as Spins so eloquently put it a minute ago. Yeah. So I love this. I get it. The one that I don't get is giving up multiple picks for Ousmane Dieng. But
yeah, don't get it. We can't have all the wins, right? Some of the half wins.
But this is like undeniably like a huge win tonight for Oklahoma City. Like if we're grading drafts, right? Like I think this is an A draft, even though I don't love every single thing they've done incredibly well to add talent in the ways that they needed to add talent.
Yeah, totally. Good day for the down to dunk crew. That's for sure.
Yeah. Do we have the silver strut?
Not yet. Pick is in here from Charlotte. This is a little bit of also 40 chess. Do you take the big here where the whole world has mocked Mark Williams, little tongue twister there? Or do you try to take your wing here because Cleveland is sitting in the pick in the middle of 13 and 15? They could play spoiler. Spins, you're here. You're 13. What's your move for the Charlotte Hornets?
Yeah, I mean, I think Jalen Duren's got to be in play here too, right?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Between him and Mark Williams, I think Duren's got longer upside. I think Mark Williams is obviously more ready to come in and play right away. But if I'm Charlotte, I'd probably go Duren, just matching the long-term upside there. Like I don't think they're in a position to be rushing through this process. And if they can be patient, that's the perfect lob partner and rim protector for LaMelo long-term. Oh, it's time.
Okay, it's time. Yeah, I agree with Spins. I would go Duren here. I don't know what the pick is, but
well, you guys have made the pick correctly. It is Jalen Duren, 13 to Charlotte, and this boils down to one thing: Michael Jordan could not see a world where he drafts a Dookie to be on his team, and that's how it turned out. I was killed. I have Jalen Duren 14th on my board. I actually have Mark Williams 13th. He's so young, man. He is, and that's one of the things that gets lost in the shuffle. Like he's supposed to be finishing.
Oh, here we go. Here we go. Do we have a trade here? No. Could be the Pistons for Jalen Duren. Could be the Knicks. Unclear.
What? Whoa.
I'm just going off Jacob in the chat here.
So let's do this. Let's just talk about him as a prospect, right? So as a prospect, he's really young. He turns 19 years old in November. So a lot of the lumps that he took as a freshman is really like a high school senior out there. Despite him looking like a man amongst boys, he had to adjust to his speed. He had to adjust to a half-court offense. He had to adjust to not having the ball in his hands all the time. Had his moments. I wanted him to be a little bit more of a rebounder. In Conference USA, I thought his numbers, frankly, should have been better. He showed up and wanted to break Chet Holmgren when they played in the NCAA tournament. I think he came out too hot and just like burnt through it there. But as a rim runner, rim protector, catch some lobs, not going to be asked to like score in the post with LaMelo Ball and that crew. Just be what you are. Be the total version of Jalen Duren of what it is. Don't try to be a shooter. Don't try to like do stuff off the dribble. And I think that works there. He's a starting center in the NBA.
Yeah.
Sam, so this is the reason why it's confusing. Woj and Shams back to back, literally within 1 second of one another. Sources: Hornets traded Jalen Duren to the Knicks from Shams, and then Woj, the Pistons are acquiring Jalen Duren at number 13 in a trade. Sources tell ESPN. So my answer is no. I don't know what is happening here.
Did just like the NBA draft Jalen Duren, they just have like a generic NBA jersey. Like, we'll figure it out. Here you go. Just put on a hat. Put on two hats.
The Rob Lowe shield hat.
Yeah. The Tony Romo like Subway hat he kept from the commercial. Just like, hey man, how do you still have our Corona commercial, whatever it was, the half jersey? I like Jalen Duren. I do. He wasn't. We projected him probably too high coming out. I saw the best of him at Pangos All-American Camp the year before, really the summer before. He enrolled like 2 months earlier. Take some time to be the full version we want him to be. I still remember on team final, though. I remember what he looked like in the Nike EYBL, and he was a man amongst boys. Spins, on your take, what's your spin on? Your spin for the spinster. You called Jalen Duren pre here, so go ahead. Give me some words.
I mean, I like Duren like you. I saw him play a little bit in AAU. I thought that he was good when his motor was high, and I think that that's probably going to be the case for the rest of his career. Like, he's playing in that DeAndre Ayton-ish role of screen, roll, finish, defend, call out actions, and rebound. And you got to be a consistent motor guy in order to thrive in that type of role. I really liked him in Charlotte. Like, I don't really, regardless of who the pick is going to right now, where Duren goes, like, I would have kept him.
Well, okay. So as I make a poorly timed, corny joke about Michael Jordan not taking Dookie, if this thing gets traded, do they still then get their man at 15 with Mark Williams?
I will never stop laughing at you. I will never stop laughing at you. If you made that
one
joke,
among many things, Sam, that you could laugh at. I'm wearing a suit on a YouTube broadcast in my living room. I'm wearing sweat shorts like I'm a weatherman. So if you want some material, I got plenty. We got a few more hours here left.
Oh my God. By the way, we know what Cleveland is doing. I won't say because Matt will have little thing.
I can't even read the chat. They're spoiling things. Pick is in for Cleveland. Can we just have some pageantry here for 2 hours? I asked Munch, get off my lawn. Son went to bed early. Just let me enjoy this.
Oh my God, this is amazing. So Duren, yeah, I agree with Spins. I totally agree. I would have rather just kept Jalen Duren if I was Charlotte. Can you imagine Jalen Duren catching lobs from LaMelo Ball? Like, that's what it comes down to. This is the best rim runner in the NBA draft, in my opinion. And he runs in transition, like him and Miles Bridges and these guys just playing so well. Like, it would have been perfect, I think, for LaMelo to continue developing. He has real defensive potential. I'm not quite as high on his switchability as some people are.
No, I'm not
but
either.
Yeah, I do get it. Spins give me a look. Come on.
I like the switchability. Yeah, I think it's there. Not like a full time you switch everything scheme, but in the final 5 seconds of a shot clock, I think he moves his feet well enough. And if you have to do that against a bigger scoring wing, like he'll be okay.
Okay. Yeah.
I don't want that guy out in space. Put it that way. It's ISO'd. I'm not like, yeah, we're good. No, we are not good. Like,
Pennie,
send another guy, rotate back. Like,
yeah. It goes back to the motor, though, right? Like, if he's dialed in, he can do those things. If he's going to be the same kind of, wishy-washy, some days he's on, some days he's not guy, then he's probably not going to be switchable. It's Cleveland time, Silver Strut.
Well, so here's the thing. So the reason that I don't love, like, I would say that I agree with you that he can hold up occasionally in switches when he just gets stuck out there, right? I don't think you're ever going to run a switch scheme with Jalen Duren. Like, if he gets strung out, that's one thing, but like, I don't think you're going to go into games going, yeah, we're going to Bam Adebayo, we're going to switch everything, we're going to get rolling.
Oh, I hate that.
I think it's
I hate that they showed highlights of Bam Adebayo when he was there. That's not who he is. For a guy that's
closer to DeAndre Jordan, I think.
Sure. And I like the rim running, lob catching. For Ochai Agbaji, national champion, tournament most outstanding player, goes 14th to Cleveland. This one gained some traction the last few days here. Most of the mock drafts of people in the know had Ochai 14th to Cleveland. I like it as another shooter.
So let me
oh, so you get traded.
Let me stop. No. He's not getting traded. We do have a full trade on Duren, but give me a second. The 3 names that people had for Cleveland the whole way were Ousmane Dieng, Jalen Williams, Ochai Agbaji. I think that the other two were ahead of Oshai, to be honest. But I don't know that for a fact. I think that that's the way it would have gone. Oshai is a good pick here. They need wing help. They need defensive versatility. They need shooting at a very high level. It's kind of a simple pick. Like, I think he can step into their rotation day one and be valuable in a real way, given the shooting ability and given his ability to switch. It's not the sexiest pick in the world, but this is a team that has Darius Garland. They have Evan Mobley already. They don't need anything more than like a fourth or fifth option on offense. And I think that that's what Oshai can be.
Yeah, very simple game, right? Stand on the perimeter, knock down shots. And I think Cleveland, valuing somebody who's a little bit more NBA ready does make a little bit of sense for them, because they have those minutes to plug on the wing, not necessarily for 30 minutes a night, but somebody who can come in and just play, a decent role around them. So that's solid.
So I love Oshai. I mean, we kind of talked this into existence from the beginning of the year. He'll be a first-round pick. Could be a lottery pick. For him to actually be a lottery pick at 14, my phone's blowing up. So, Sam, I see you looking at your phone, spins. You have telekinetic stuff here. What is the actual full trade from Jalen Duren? Where is he going? What are we doing? Is he a Piston? Is Kemba Walker involved? Like, what's the spin?
So,
sorry,
it looks like,
I mean, an actual spin. I'm not taking a shot at you.
Yeah, it looks like Jalen Duren is going to be a Knick. It looks like they moved Kemba Walker to the Pistons, and it looks like maybe that Milwaukee pick is going from Portland or from
so what did the
Detroit
Pistons do then?
that they acquired? So the Pistons are moving that Detroit pick or the Milwaukee pick that they acquired for Jeremy Grant, moving him to Portland to the Hornets, I guess.
Okay.
So
Spins, you have thoughts?
So if I'm getting this straight, the Pistons are giving up a first in order to get Kemba Walker?
Oh, no. Really?
There has to be something else. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like there have to be other details here moving forward.
They got to be getting at least a pick back.
Yeah. Like you would think that someone is giving them a pick back. I don't know. We're all guessing here with Jalen Duren. It looks like Jalen Duren is a Knick. That's where we're at. Let's go with that. Looks like the Hornets pick is in at number 15.
Pick is in.
We're all
for
thrown
commercial,
here.
but it's in. Yeah, we're a little off. That's weird. I just don't know how the Pistons were involved. That's kind of my question, I guess.
Penny, is this going to be your speaking this one to existence here with Mark Williams? Did you draft Duren, trade him?
I think I need to mute myself for a full minute if it is Mark Williams for the joke that I thought landed, but played itself out within minutes. It
put you in timeout, right?
Yeah, exactly. We were talking about it yesterday about one of the two producers made Brady Manick. He's like selling us on Brady Manick as a draft pick. Like if you're around the horn, we're just pressing like the minus button right now. You'd be like -7. Yeah. Shout out Brady Manick. I don't think he's getting drafted though.
Now, like if the Pistons if the Hornets essentially wind up getting rid of one of their first round picks, getting another one in the future, and still being able to take Mark Williams at 15, like that's a good night.
So 13 was Duren.
I'm a little confused now on Duren because there's another conflicting report on Duren going to Detroit. So let's just wait on Jalen Duren. We have picks for the next two, it looks like, to be honest, which Penny will have a
wait
meltdown. Well, I had to look for the Duren details, and then I happened to come across some things.
Do you go on like the internet before you see movies and like, let me just check out the ending and then I'll go check it out? But did you go see The Sixth Sense and whisper to your wife like, hey, he's dead people, don't worry about it? What?
Did you just like ruin The Sixth Sense for like some random
Spins?
Have you seen The Sixth Sense?
Yeah.
30 years old. 30 years ago. I'm sorry. Earmuffs retrace the steps here. Pick is in for Charlotte. You haven't crushed me too much, so we'll see if it's actually Mark Williams or not. Oh, boy.
Okay. Yeah, let's wait. Let's see what Penny's got here.
Lottery's over. We're strutting.
Okay, important question here, Spence. Do you think that Penny looks more like Ed Helms or John Krasinski from The Office?
Oh boy, I gotta go. Can you give me a do when he gets back off of mute here? That'll give me my answer.
Okay,
Yep.
here we go. Yeah, it's Mark Williams.
Stay on mute. Go ahead, boys.
So I like it.
Yeah.
I like Mark Williams. He's a great lob threat. He's a great defender. I think he's much more ready right now to play than Jalen Duren is. He's a little bit older. He's much better positionally. Genuinely, like, you can make a case he has better tools than Jalen Duren at the end of the day. He has a 9'9" standing reach. He has 7'2" with 7'7", 7'8" wingspan, something like that. He has the biggest standing reach in the NBA unless Taco Fall comes back into the NBA. So I get this. I think it makes sense. He will be a great pick and roll rim runner for LaMelo Ball, and he will be a potential defensive anchor for the Hornets. Yeah, I dig it. I think it makes sense.
Yep, and it's.
Vince,
I think
you're up because Penny's on.
All right, I'm off mute, but you can talk about it. I love Mark Williams, so go ahead, Spence.
Yeah, I love him too. And I think that, this is, I think, 12th on my board right now. Like, really, really like him. Dependable guy. And at some point, like, I know a lot of times there are conversations that happen about when do you draft a big who's not necessarily going to be this absolutely elite, super versatile guy, or do they still have middle of the first round appeal? And like, Williams is just a solid enough player all the way around that you believe he's going to be in any type of rotation on a team that you put him on. Yeah, that's just outside the lottery type of value. Big fan of his motor and a lot of the little things that he does well. So if you're Charlotte and you're debating between, Mark Williams and Jalen Duren there, taking the safer route, not just in terms of more ability to play right away, but also that there's probably no questions about the personality, the motor, any of those other things. Not necessarily saying that there are with Duren, but having a known commodity that you have a few more years of film on, you've seen how he works on a championship level team at Duke. That translation is a lot more smooth for the Hornets.
And just nasty. Like has some nastiness to him. When I saw him play at BC, he got an intentional foul, which wasn't really dirty by nature, but I was like, ooh, didn't know he had like all that in him. Like, he blocks shots and tries to punch them. It's not like a block, a tip back. It's like he's trying to bat into the stance and then take off, go full court, and dunk and rip the rim off. And I like it, similar to what you said. He showed the year before he was the main scoring punch because Jalen Johnson and that team was just disheveled. It was all over the place. And then a year later, there's more guys that want to score, and he's okay just playing that role and being the guy end to end, snatching rebounds, blocking shots, stepping up and rotating. Yeah, I don't know how much of like the switching foot speed stuff. I think it's crushed a little bit, unjustifiably so. Like, it's not great, but as another rim running lob catcher that we want for LaMelo Ball, not a bad guy. Maybe Jalen Duren, the highlights will be a little bit better, but Mark Williams fits that bill as well.
Okay, so it seems like Jalen Duren is going to Detroit, which is something that makes more sense, actually, I think, than what the other side was. We had heard rumors that Jalen Duren was a real target of the Detroit Pistons. Now, this is what's interesting. Obviously, the Detroit Pistons have been associated, let's say, with DeAndre Ayton in free agency. Yeah. I wonder if this is going to be a thing where they end up no longer looking at DeAndre Ayton in free agency.
Don't have to. You probably save yourself $100 million by having this trade for a couple pieces. And I like Jalen Duren. We talk about players need to be unlocked. Cade Cunningham's a great guy to unlock that. And Jaden Ivey, like, hey man, let's take off. Let's go. That's a cool 3-man core. And I like Jalen Duren in that spot a lot more than I think I would have liked him at the Knicks or with Charlotte. Charlotte does work, but Detroit is intriguing with the pieces they have around him. There was some buzz that like Detroit liked him. We talked about that early. Was there a chance that he went as high as he did with Jaden Ivey on the board? No shot, but a good night for Detroit here too, I'd say.
Yeah.
Really good night.
Yeah, no doubt. And look, like, how many dominoes fall because of this? If Detroit takes themselves out of the DeAndre Ayton sweepstakes here by going after Jalen Duren, does that change what happens here at 16 with Atlanta? Is this the spot where they try to make some sort of a Rudy Gobert-ish deal? Like, do they take best player available here? How does this really factor in if one other team that we thought was going to be in the Ayton sweepstakes is now out?
Yeah, and I mean, does this end up with DeAndre Ayton's market softening a little bit as well, to where the Phoenix Suns are able to now retain him at a level that they would be a bit more comfortable with? Penny just gave a fist pump. We're Thumbs
Well,
up now.
I'm fist
for
pumping. The
audio
pick
listeners.
happened, but the pick is AJ Griffin from Duke is an Atlanta Hawk. Not where I had him mocked. There was some chatter today that could be a guy that slid a little bit. Could have gone really as high as maybe like 8-ish, all the way down to late lottery. Atlanta's interesting, I'd say, for him. As I'll start that as a kickoff. I think I would have taken more of a creating stylish guard to take that pressure off of Trae Young. But the shooting is there for AJ Griffin. Historically strong freshman year shooting the basketball. You worry a little bit about the injuries. If that thing is clear and he just wasn't 100% back to form yet based on season at Duke and powered through it, a lot of upside there and future and potential as a big guy that hits shots.
Yeah. So Spins, you've been a little bit lower on AJ Griffin than the rest of the internet, let's say. I think that NBA teams were more in yours and my boat and Matt's boat as well. I think Matt had him in the teens as well. Yeah. Where are you at on AJ Griffin? Explain your thought process. I'm sure you're a little bit more comfortable with him here than some of the other places that were discussed.
Yeah, so I had him 16th on my board, so this fits pretty well there. And I think Atlanta actually a solid spot, depending on what they do at center, because they're not going to be a super switchy team. I thought that that's what did AJ Griffin in a little bit this year on Duke, is having to guard different styles of player. He's probably best going against the more physical forward that an NBA team has to offer. I was a little bit lower on Griffin because of the defensive side of things. And I just think he moves very square. I'm not a kinesiologist type of guy, but I don't really know how to fix any of that stuff, right? Like being very,
you have to open up someone's hips. It feels like you have to make their hips more flexible. Yeah.
Sam and I were just like, can he do yoga in the off season? That's just our default. Can he stretch out? A foam roller.
Yeah, I think he's going to shoot it incredibly well at the NBA level. And again, we talk about floor raising skills. Being able to just stand on the perimeter and knock down shots is always going to be valuable in today's NBA. So even though I'm a little pessimistic on the defense, the athleticism and how that moves, it's jacket off time. Man.
Yeah, it's hot, man. We're out of the lottery. We're getting casual now. I'm the agent sweating the next pick. My guy's in the green room. We got 25 picks. Where is he? So yeah, keep going, Spence.
No, I think this is the right type of spot to make a gamble on somebody like Griffin, where inside the lottery or closer to the top 10, if the downside that he has athletically he turns into something that's too risky of a proposition, then you end up losing a lottery pick. Just outside that range, especially in this class, I think this is kind of the right exact range and a decent landing spot for him.
All right. Spins going to depart us, folks. Say goodbye to Spins. Just the best.
Spins, thank you, brother. That was great.
You're my favorite people.
Adam,
good to see you.
Good to see you. Yeah. Thank you all so much for having me.
All right, Matt.
Oh, hello, Sam. How are you? The pick is in for Houston, I think. Oh, no, they're not. They said it was in. It's not. They pump fake there.
They pump fake you?
Well, I thought so. And so the pick is in. Put more time on the clock. I don't know if they just hit pause.
Someone's gonna do a side by side of you and Sean Miller. Live look at Matt Pennie sweating through his shirt like Sean Miller.
He was very sweaty that day, though.
This is the good thing about it being winter in Australia. I don't have to worry about the sweat.
Hold on. Yeah. Pick is actually in. Hold on.
Pick is in. Okay, we're up. It's the Houston Rockets. They're at 17.
No, I pump fake. They replayed the Jabari Smith Jr. Hey, react to this. We're not back. Yeah, it's weird that it's winter there. I'm my house is weird with the apartment. It's weird with the elements. It gets really hot or really cold, nothing in between. I'd love to have the AC on, but we don't need that melodic hum in the background of this draft podcast. So we're at 17 now with Houston.
Yeah,
they're talking to Jabari Smith Jr. And
the two names I got here most were Tari Eason and Ty Washington. And I wonder, I don't think it will affect things too much for them in terms of do you look a different way because Jabari Smith fell to you as opposed to Paulo Banchero falling to you. I think that they're still in talent accumulation mode, but it is interesting, and it is an interesting wrinkle here as we consider what they could do.
Do you add like another big though? We're going what, 4 straight first round draft picks? I mean, they also had Josh Christopher, I think was late first, right? I think it was like 23rd, 27th or whatever last year. But
Yeah,
you take Şengün, you take Garuba, we take Jabari Smith. Now we're gonna take Tari Eason, like another big, as we're talking about how the game is changing and you need more size on the perimeter. I know Tari can play some of that 3-4, and his fans believe that he can be more of a 3. I'm not really there yet offensively. Defensively, sure, he runs all over the place. Transition, sure. Half court game gets shrunk down. I have some questions.
I think as long as you believe that he can guard threes, which I do, the fit with him, Şengün, and Smith is actually quite strong because he's going to be able to just fly around
that's true.
and cover. You know, Şengün, they hope that Alperen can shoot at some point. He has touch at the very least. Whether or not he actualizes that is a question mark. But I like the idea of lineups like that with Jabari Smith, Alperen Şengün, Tari Eason. You have Jalen Green, obviously, who needs some defensive insulation as well. Smith and Tari, I think, could really provide these lineups with the defensive insulation that they need. You know, and it's been widely mocked that Tari Eason is, you know, someone that they're interested in. Like, I'm not breaking news here, I don't think. We'll see what they do, though. I don't know.
And I like Tari more with drafting a shooter in Jabari Smith. If you had Paolo and Tari Eason, there's just a little bit of funky positional overlap where Paolo wasn't a bad shooter from 3, but there's hesitancy. That's not really his game. Jabari Smith's game from day one is going to be catch and shoot threes. Everything else is gravy as a rookie. So if he does that, and then you can have more fluidity with Tari Eason, sure, works. The pick is in, waiting for our world famous strut here. Is there any chance, you're talking talent accumulation, I don't know how many times I have to say this, but do they go for a guy like Dalen Terry? Do they go for anyone outside of just the mold of these 2 mock guys that we've talked about and read about so much the last week?
I mean, I'd love it. Like, I'm all in on Dalen Terry. I think Tari is my best player available right now, but Dalen is pretty close, I would think. You know, a Blake Wesley is interesting just in terms of upside at the guard position.
But I knew you're lower on him, so you'd be like, I don't know.
Yeah,
all right, pick is in. We'll go on mute. We're
his range
let's see how we do.
Yeah, like Blake's range is around here, but like I also have Ty with a lottery pick. Like Tari and Ty are the 2 best guys left on my board. I think that they make the most sense.
That's why you're paid the big bucks. That's why you have a full-time job doing this. Tari Eason is the pick for the Houston Rockets here.
Yeah, I mean, look, it's a sensible pick. It is a high upside swing because Tari Eason is 6'8" with a 7'2" wingspan, and he is strong enough to guard centers. Like, the thing that I have been told about Tari from the jump, from people that have played him, from agents that have talked to their players that have played Tari, is this guy, like, even in high school, for guys that are now playing the NBA, that played him in high school, that played him in college, like, they say that I haven't really felt strength like that. Like, only a couple of guys in the NBA use their strength in the way that Tari does on the court. And that manifestation of strength on the court, I think, is going to allow him to be versatile across all front court positions. Like, I think there's a world where he can even play some small ball 5 because of how big he is and because of how perimeter oriented the NBA is going. So I really like this pick. I have concerns about the jumper mechanics. It's a catapult right now. It comes like directly off of his right shoulder in a way that if he tries to pull up from the left side of the court, he is just going to get blocked almost every time in the NBA right now. If he tries to pull up off the dribble. I think the touch is real, though. Like, I actually think he has touch that's going to allow him to shoot at a pretty reasonable clip. So I like Tari quite a bit here, and I get it. I like what Houston is doing again.
Exceptional in transition. And now we talk about the actual roster makeup. You have Jalen Green, who wants to run and play fast. You can run with Jabari Smith Jr. on the wing, spotting for threes, going all the way to be the first guy at the rim. So you don't need Alperen Şengün to like keep up with you every play too. He can just throw those dart passes and take off. That's an interesting kind of core to build around.
It is an interesting core to build around. I do dig it. Who's up here at 18? Chicago, I believe.
Chicago Bulls, baby.
So where are we at with Chicago Bulls?
Where do we mock or where are we at in general?
I mocked Mark Williams here because I thought that I wasn't quite sure that the Knicks and the Spurs were going to take bigs, and I had Mark Williams dropping. I do think that there was some interest in Mark Williams had he gotten to 18. Like they could use a versatile wing, just like every other team in the NBA could. That makes sense.
Anytime we don't
guys that
we have a versatile wing.
Yeah, like guys that I considered mocking here were like Malaki Branham, Dalen Terry, even Ty to an extent I considered. The thing I was told, like the Bulls were like kind of looking around at different trade options as well. I don't know if that's going to come to fruition here, but yeah, like, Branham, Dalen Terry, Ty, like there are a number of guys here.
Blake Wesley, semi-local.
Blake Wesley.
I think in one of the mocks last one or two, I picked Blake Wesley, I believe, for that spot because Lonzo Ball has been injured and he can slide in there for some minutes next to Zach LaVine. I don't have a great feel on this one. Could it be one of the guards? That's what I would guess if I had to. Some Dalen Terry, Ty, Blake Wesley combination here. Malaki Branham, we called this last week too, is the guy that can kind of take a little bit of a tumble. Being 17th isn't really a full tumble. There was a time a month or two ago when he was the Jalen Williams. He was the guy that was going to be 10th or 11th. Differences in pre-draft, differences in preparation maybe. I don't want to like overthink or wax on it, but yeah, those kind of ships passing in the night here.
All right, producer Zach is telling us the pick is in.
Pick is in, but the commercial is there. Some time. Yeah. So, but I think what's good about, and we don't have to go too crazy, Malaki Branham, is it's better for him to get a little bit later in the draft with a little bit more of a veteran team where he doesn't have that heavy expectation and burden to carry it. Even Jalen Williams got in a good spot where you're in Oklahoma City and you have the scores already, just go be you. But I'd rather take Malaki Branham here at 18 to 22 than I would from 8 to 12, despite my big board looking otherwise. I'm very high on Branham. I think he pans out in time. I have 9th or 10th.
Yeah, I'm a little bit lower. I mocked Branham at 19 on my last mock, so we'll see if that ends up coming to fruition. Here for the Bulls, it would make sense. Like they could use another wing that can score, right? And I honestly, like, I can't imagine a better person for him to learn from in terms of footwork, given how like mid-range heavy he is, than DeMar DeRozan. But look, if they're trying to have someone who can help this core grow around Zach LaVine, around DeMar DeRozan, I don't know. I kind of dig Dalen Terry here, but I also like Dalen is my second highest player left. So like, I don't know. I don't know what to think here.
I don't either. I want to shout out Matt Curley, who just from Synergy, who I tweeted to. I don't thank enough for giving me access to Synergy stuff. Just texted, say we're having a great live show. Thank you for sticking around. I know we're 2 hours.
Yeah, shout out
here.
Curley.
We're having fun, but shout out Curley forever, who I'll hopefully see on the road here and Under Armour stuff in a few weeks.
Just the best human being. Like shout out Matt. Absolutely a terrific
the best
person.
Accidentally bumping into him on Bourbon Street, the Final Four, was just such a delight. That's the best part of the Final Four. Just you have no plans to see or do anything. Just you bump into friends along the way. That's what this is all about, really, on Draft Twitter. Pick us in. So we're talking about the Bulls, the win percentage, points per game, last 5 seasons. Need a little bit of help. Not a lot of playoff runs here, but storied franchise. I would add something in the backcourt without one of these bigs on the board. And we'll see. We're strutting, hitting mute. Let's see what Commissioner Silver has for us.
Okay, the Chicago Bulls, they're in a position where they should be trying to compete, which around Zach LaVine, who hopefully resigns, around DeMar DeRozan.
Let's go, baby. Speaking into existence, Dalen Terry is a Chicago Bull. I love it. I do. I was like kind of whispering like, hey, Dalen Terry, he's around here. I'm very happy with that pick. I am. He's just a ball of energy. He's a kinetic type player. We saw he can play some point guard, some big guard when Kirk Kriisa got hurt in the NCAA tournament, in the Pac-12 tournament. Had a great finish to the season. I just really like him. Teams are drawn to his personality, how hard he works. He has that Scotty Barnes-like personality where he just like, he's totally there. He lights up a room. So I think it's a great pick for the Bulls.
Well, and here's the thing about Dalen as well. He's really good insurance for Lonzo Ball. They are different players. That like Lonzo's much more of a natural point guard. Dalen's more of a wing that like likes to go out and go in transition. but they're similarly like very unselfish, head manning the ball in transition, trying to move it up the court as quickly as possible. Also great defenders, particularly of guards. I think Dalen Terry is a terrific high upside defender, fighting through screens, dealing with perimeter players, using his length. Like, he's a defender that literally will just like, he's so quick and he trusts his recovery ability so much. He just crawls up into guys defensively and like actually attacks their dribble at a high level. So I love this. I think it makes a ton of sense for the Bulls to go after Dalen Terry here.
And with Dalen too, we collectively overuse the term jumbo guard. He is what a jumbo guard is to me at 6'7" with long arms, with the amount of ground he covers all over the court on both ends. He'll be able to help push the tempo too for when they want to run. I'm very high on Dalen Terry. I had him 15th overall. For him to go 18th, it's great for him. When the season ended, I told people around his camp, maybe another year, he's got a chance. I said, no, he's going to get into pre-draft. People are going to fall in love with him, bet on himself, and it worked out.
Yeah, I love it as well. Let's see. We have the Timberwolves up here. This is Tim Connolly's first pick as a general manager. We have Jacob in the comments who has let us know.
You know what? I'm going to give our guy a pass here because we made it through the lottery without a spoiler or I saw it there. Well, whatever. You can talk on it if you want. I mean, people are waiting, but.
So do people in the comments want us to wait? Are they happy that we're waiting, or do they want us to like actually
blink twice if you want us to wait?
Yeah, we can definitely see you, folks. That's the thing. Yeah, look, let's hold off. The Minnesota Timberwolves are in an
the pick is in. They're
position.
Not yet.
Okay. So it looks like, I will say this. It looks like this pick is going to Memphis.
Okay. Yeah.
Which Memphis has talked a lot about moving up. The Timberwolves are getting 22 and 29 for 19.
That's the guy you like, I like that, right? You don't need two of the guys in late first. If you're a guy, you have to move up to get him a few spots. And the depth of the draft is here. I like for guys who want to take a chance on. Do they all hit? No. But if you feel so confident that you need to get to 19 to get your man, I'm for that. That trade makes sense to me.
Keep talking real quick, Matt.
I will keep talking. I don't want to spoil it for who the actual pick is here. Some different players were mocked throughout the process. Where's my strut here to the podium as we're transitioning? So I hope my friend Sam is ready. As Silver is strutting, I have to do my traditional mute in 3, 2, 1. Silver, you are up.
Okay, so Pennie is watching now. I know who this is because Jacob spoiled it for Matt in the comments.
You know what, though?
It's Jake LaRavia.
You get your moment. You were the first guy to call this out. You said, have you watched this kid? I said, I have not watched Wake Forest in November. So have the floor here. You're the king of the fan club.
Yeah, so it's funny. I wrote in my mock draft when I was mocking 29 with Memphis, I said Gabriel Procida. The reason I said that is because Memphis and I tend to think very similarly on prospects, and I really like Procida, and I, for whatever reason, just tend to be very in tune with the way that they think of things in basketball terms, right? I've been high on Jake LaRavia the whole year. I probably should have put 2 and 2 together, right? I probably should have recognized, oh, you know what? Like, maybe the guy that Memphis is trying to trade up to get the whole time is Jake LaRavia, because I love Jake LaRavia. So look, Jake is a 6'8" forward, super competitive and super shooter who can process the game. I think he is going to hit shots at a lights out level in the NBA. Like, I think we're talking about a guy who is not going to be afraid to take any shot. He fits Memphis's core values in terms of being a competitive dude who is confident, but is going to be, not a like bad person or anything when it comes to that stuff. It's a perfect deal, I think, for Memphis to end up with Jake LaRavia.
Memphis is all of us. Memphis is draft Twitter. With every Memphis pick, I think we all collectively just like fist pump or slap hands. Jake LaRavia with an interesting combine path as well, who goes to the combine, shoots for a day, and says, Yeah, I'm good. I did enough. I showed enough here. His people, his camp felt like they're in a good spot. And look, absolutely right. He skyrocketed up boards too. I had him at 33. I'm a little bit lower than consensus, but I like that fit even more so. So that's why it makes more sense to me too. Really good cutter.
Look,
and that's like his value too, as doesn't need the ball, cut away. He'll hit the open shots like you talked about. He's a smart player. He passes it. He's good under catch and shoot. They can hide some of the defensive stuff with some shot blockers behind him. That's a good guy to come off the bench for you.
It's killer. It's absolutely killer. I am very happy he's going to Memphis, put it that way. Like I am, it just fits across the board. Like John Morant's going to find him for back cuts. John Morant's going to be able to kick it out to him in the corners for three. I think he is a non-disaster defender. I worry about the quickness a little bit, but I think that he's really smart with his angles. He's really good positionally. Again, like he's super competitive and he processes the game exceptionally well. He can handle the ball. He can pass. Like this is the kind of guy that is successful as a role player in today's NBA, I think. And I wonder, at number 21, I mocked Christian Braun at number 21. I wonder if we get another one coming up here with Christian Braun, because I think of these two very similarly and am a big fan of both of them in the way that they impact the game.
Yeah, Christian Braun, one of those guys that you watched postseason and pushed me in that direction. So just rewatch him a little bit. I like Christian Braun too. I moved him up. I ended up having him at right there, 29. So a few spots below you. San Antonio Spurs are on the clock here at 20. There's a minute 30 ticking away. Spurs took Jeremy Sochan. We had kind of said, could it be a 5 they're taking? Could it be somebody else up front? What direction do you think they go here? Is this their talent accumulation? Is this their swing for best on the board? We talked about Malaki Branham. That's a guy that if he hits could be really good. Do you take a wild swing at somebody like Jaden Hardy? Do you take a swing on like a more of a small ball 5 at EJ Liddell? You're the Spurs GM. What's your move here?
Best player available. Like I'm not thinking twice. For me, it's Ty Washington. Like I would take Ty. I know that I have Josh Primo. I know that I have, but like I'm apparently for some ungodly reason considering moving DeJounte Murray. I don't understand what they're doing there. Yeah. But also, if you don't move DeJounte Murray, Ty fits perfectly with someone like that. Very similar in my mind. Not quite as big as Derek White, and not quite as good defensively as Derek White, but the offensive impact is similar, I think, to what Derek White can bring. This was our concern the whole way with Ty. Like he's kind of the one that seems to be dropping just a little bit along with Branham. Yeah. I don't know. Are we on mute now? Is the pick in?
No, we're good. We're good. I'm awaiting. So as the pick is in, we're getting our few last words in here. So I'll let you catch up on the trades, the tweets here. Kemba Walker's being bought out. Is that true or no? Was that I'm catching up on our sidebar. Our boy
I see that producer Jacob has told us that Kemba Walker is being moved. Another guy here that could make sense is Blake Wesley, I think.
Yeah, Blake's a good one. That's a really good one. Yep.
Be sensible. This is fun. This is very, very fun. I'm glad we're continuing. We were considering like when we wanted to cut this off, but I think we're rolling through the first round at this point, baby. Let's do it.
People are going to wake up in the morning. We're still going to be talking like, oh, we're downloading the draft. Like, how long have you guys been doing that? The live thing is going to say like 14 hours up top. But it's good. Those are quick.
For what it's worth
first
as well.
Picks.
Yeah, for everyone who missed the first part of our show, this is going to get posted to the podcast feed for sure. Like we're just going to post the whole thing. I'm not going to cut it up into bits. If you want to, literally just listen to our live reactions of things that are happening, you're going to be able to do that. Pennie, number 20, San Antonio Spurs. Blake Wesley, I think I might have had here, if I remember correctly. I might have had Ty. I think Ty is actually who I had here, now that I think about it. I think that the last guy that's available for me that I didn't have mock might be Blake Wesley. I think I had Blake at 16 in the last mock. So where are you at on the Spurs? Like, would you take Walker Kessler here? Like, is that an idea?
Oh, no. I go guard. We're strutting. Let's see what we got. We'll...
Okay. Is Pennie watching the silver strut? The problem with the silver strut is I keep thinking of the strut.
Let's go. Get him off the board. Malaki Branham in San Antonio. I like that. You have Malaki Branham and
Great.
Jeremy Sochan. That's two guys that I had in the top. I had Sochan actually. I had Sochan 9. I had Malaki Branham 10th. That's a good haul. And you have another pick too on the back end if you want to take another big, whether that's EJ Liddell, whether it's Walker Kessler, whether it's Ishmael Kamagate. That's a good talent accumulation by the San Antonio Spurs. I love it.
So I'm not quite as high on Branham as you are. I have him, I think, at 21 on my board. In this tier, though, they're the only player left, I think, in this tier for me. Only two guys left might be Jaden Hardy and Ty Washington, to be honest. This draft has gone pretty much according to plan for us outside of the top, couple of picks here, I would say, right?
Yeah. It's like a standard deviation of 2 or 3. There hasn't been.
Yeah.
I thought Ousmane Dieng was going to go higher, but other than that, nothing too crazy, I guess.
So with Branham, I think he actually fits the Spurs mix of guys pretty well, right? They have Keldon Johnson on the wing, who they're probably going to have to pay either this offseason or next offseason. They have DeJounte Murray, who's not really a shot creator. At the end of the day, he's a shot creator, but he's not a shot maker because he doesn't shoot it well from distance. But he has improved as a mid-range shooter. Malaki, again, is more of a mid-range guy, which, this Spurs front office has valued mid-range shooting a little bit more than other places. Their acquisition of DeMar DeRozan, their play style up until this year previously. They really are okay with guys stepping in and shooting mid-range shots. Malaki is going to do that at a high level. And I think he's going to shoot threes at a high level. People that saw him in the pre-draft process kind of mentioned that he was shooting the ball out a little bit more than he was shooting his normal mechanics from Ohio State in an attempt to kind of try to, get more distance on the shot. He didn't shoot as well, if I remember correctly, from out to 25 feet this year as he did from right on the 3-point line. But look, reasonable pick. I think he's a legit potential 3-level scorer at the end of the day in the NBA.
I had a great game to end here against Villanova. Second half of the year, averaged nearly 20 points per game. I agree. My hang up is a little bit of the defense. Didn't seem totally interested in doing that. But I like the shooting. I like how he elevates off pull-ups, off 1 or 2 dribble. I like how he operates out of screen and rolls. He needs that screen to create that separation because he doesn't have that lightning quick burst to start. The shot is low, and I even saw a video today posted. He was working with a trainer, getting draft day work in with Chris Brickley, and it was just it's a lower release. It is, and it's fluid. It looks right, but it's hard to shoot from here when you got a guy in your face. So if that's adjusted a little bit, Spurs, another organization that develops their guys, that they get better. They drafted 2 guys, 29th overall, and both ended up playing out in Murray and in Keldon Johnson. I think that's right. I think it's the pick. I love the spot. I do, for his own personal development. He can, Josh Primo can call it the big leagues. He can fill in that role, and we just keep this thing moving, man. That's all we need to do.
Yeah. So number 21 now, Denver. I don't know what they've done. Zach says the pick is in. This to me, the thing that I've been told the whole way is that they want to improve their backcourt depth because they might move Monte Morris at some point in order to just kind of keep their cap books a little bit cleaner. This is a Ty spot. Ty can play with Jamal Murray. He can play with Bones Highland. Just take the guy, for God's sake.
Please take him.
I'm begging.
Yeah, despite I would still go Blake Wesley if we're going for guards here, but is he too similar? Is he too similar to sort of like Bones Highland? A little bit. Ty's more of a paced game. You can slow it down a little bit, throw it to Jokic, cut off, do some stuff in the half court. Bones and Blake would want to play faster, despite Notre Dame playing slower this year with Blake Wesley. The shot's there for Blake, and that's the swing as a 30% shooter from 3. If that gets better, that's a great pick and a value pick here at 21.
Can we talk about one thing that happened throughout this day? We were told, and I was told throughout the week as well, that there were going to be a lot of trades. It feels like this happens every year, where the NBA and its sources across the NBA, it's not just your reporters peddling bullshit, right? Sources across the NBA will tell you, oh, this is going to be a super active draft cycle. Teams are moving up and down. They're going nuts. All these potential trades are out there. Trust us. Don't be surprised to see veterans move. Don't be surprised to see all-stars move.
Yeah.
We've had like three of them.
How many former all-stars were moved? Kemba. Who else? The pick is in here, so tell me your answer. I'm going to go mute. Let's see. Adam Silver.
How many? Well, like I'm thinking of the Memphis trade happened. The Cavs trade of Sasha Vezenkov to Sacramento for I think 49, and then the Lakers picked up 35. Has there been any other significant trade outside of that Detroit one? As Pennie is here just like mouthing words while he's on mute listening to the broadcast. Unbelievable on Matt's part. He's just waving at us now. This is great. Okay, we have
all right. We have Christian Braun here.
Oh, yay! I'm
sorry.
said Christian Braun at 21. Great.
You can't have all the picks. The delay was because Adam Silver announced the trades first. Christian Braun is in the stands. I love this move so much. Like green room, no, not really. I'm in the 4th row. Bill Self's there. His representation's there. This is awesome.
Look, man, I think
love
you got
out of the stands, like sitting among fans, like, oh, he just got drafted. That's why I wore the suit. It's right the tie. I'm ready, just like Christian Braun is. He's a tough kid, man. He's really, really tough. He lets you know about it all game long. They're showing highlights of him dunking it and talking noise to people. You were sitting press row, front row. You can talk about your experience watching him up close, winning the national championship game too.
Yeah, one of my favorite. It was like a religious experience watching Christian Braun just talk immense amounts of shit, dropping like a number of F-bombs after making that clutch 3 against, I think it was it Villanova that they played in the Final Four? Yeah, he makes like a ridiculous clutch fadeaway 3. This is a great pick. This is a fit across the board for Denver. They love guys that move well without the ball. They love guys that can get up and down in transition, and they love guys who are at least intelligent defensively. Christian Braun is all of that. He is a really, really good closeout and scramble defender. He's not going to hold up on the ball at the level of, Aaron Gordon or anything like that. But he is someone that I think is a good team defender. He's going to be in the right positions. And he's like 6'7" and strong. Like he is well built. He is athletic. Like, look, well, I mean, people think he's not a great athlete because he's just like this skinny white kid, but he is a legit athlete. Like he gets up and throws down dunks. He gets out in transition. He sprints. Like this is a great pick. I love it. I think it fits perfectly with what Denver wants to do.
He was a catalyst on that run and that season. He was. I think Ochai Agbaji gets a lot of credit, rightfully so. Remy Martin was unbelievable in March. Dave McCormick was really good. But Christian Braun was a lot of times a steady hand, and he was a little bit forgotten. I think it's why people had him in the 40s. And as he went in and worked out places, the feedback was overwhelmingly positive. Said, I don't know if guys really missed on him, but he improved his stock by going into these places, working out, and showing what he was really about.
Yeah, no, I love it. I think this is a great pick for Denver across the board. So Minnesota has this pick, right? They have 22. Yeah, very interested. I'm not sure what to expect.
Hold on. There is so my graphic tells me there's a proposed trade, and Memphis could have this pick. Memphis to Minnesota, but it's proposed. So who are you saying has this pick?
So this is the LaRavia trade.
This is LaRavia trade. Got it.
Yeah,
so it's
19
not, I don't
for
think
22
it's like
and 29.
When can it be named official? Because we knew the Ousmane Dieng thing, but it was just announced the pick before.
I think all of the picks have to have been made, or they have to be picks that are not involved in this draft. So they were able to announce the Ousmane Dieng one because it's 2 future picks. They were able to announce. Have they announced the Duren one?
I'm going mute here. Pick is in.
Okay, we have a trade apparently, but we'll talk about that momentarily. Matt is staring up the screen. I have no idea what this is going to be. We have a look. What do we got?
We got a guy we thought was potentially college National Defensive Player of the Year last year. Played alongside Jabari Smith Jr. Walker Kessler from Auburn is off the board.
This is a guy that I'd been told Minnesota really liked. I probably should have mentioned this. I think I did mention it in the mock as someone that Minnesota really likes. It makes a lot of sense that they would move down, pick up 29 in order to get Walker Kessler. look, Minnesota has been active on the trade market looking for another big that can block shots to maybe move Karl Towns occasionally to the 4, but as much as anything early in Karl Towns' career or early in this player's career, block shots and be able to play. I think that Walker Kessler is probably the best technical drop coverage defender in this draft. He is elite as a shot blocker. You know what time it is, Matt?
What?
It's trivia time. Shout out Gary Parrish and Matt Norlander.
I'm terrible at trivia. Why did they? Okay, go ahead. I don't like
in the Ken Palm era in the last 20 years, there's been one player that has exceeded Walker Kessler's block rate from this past season. Who is that player? He is a former first-round pick.
How long ago?
This was about 14 years ago, something like that.
God,
you might have been playing at this point still.
Last time I guess Stefan Lasby was wrong. It was somebody obscure, wasn't it? It wasn't like Alabama A&M, like somebody I'd never heard of.
No. There's a non-zero chance that you played this player.
Oh, Jesus.
No, because you guys weren't in the same league. Never mind. No. You weren't in the same league at that point.
What did you say? Was it block rate?
Block rate.
Not Anthony Davis.
Not Anthony Davis. That'd be 2011. This guy's like 2008.
You said a decade, so 2008.
Yeah, of course.
I don't know. Fire away, and then I can yell and say I knew that.
Larry Sanders.
I didn't play.
Former first-round pick of the Milwaukee Bucks. Did you play him?
Yeah. No, don't think so.
I was going to say, but like right around your time, so I thought there was a chance. Not a crazy one.
Good trivia question.
Yeah. So
we
got some glitchy from.
For glitching. Oh boy, sorry. Yeah. I was looking up Larry Sanders when he played. He was 2010 NBA draft, so I think we might have had like a little carryover, but I don't remember playing him. Could be wrong. He probably had like 35 against us or
something. Yeah. So great shot blocker. Walker Kessler is an unbelievable shot blocker. He's so good at just keeping contained and being able to not allow guys to turn the corner on him. He is so good from the weak side. I worry a little bit about him being able to be the effective rim runner that we hope. I think he actually does kind of need to shoot it, which he has shown signs of, although he is going to have to do some work on the mechanics. I think he has enough touch to get there at some point, but we shall see. Jacob is telling us in the comments, by the way, that it looks like we've got DeAnthony Melton for 23.
Yeah. I'm just reading off the comments. I'm not following along on the Twitter machine to make sure that was confirmed.
Okay, so it is DeAnthony Melton for 23. So before, it looks like when we were at pick 21, before the Walker Kessler pick, 21 of my top 23 players had been picked so far.
Pretty good. So who's down?
Pretty good.
Blake Wesley, Jaden Hardy?
It's going to be Hardy and Ty are the two.
Ty.
And I have Hardy at 20, and we're at 21. So it's really just Ty.
So who is?
Look.
Let's talk this. Let's play a dark game. Let's play a dark Squid Game. Who's left in the green room? Wesley, Ty, Hardy. There's 24 invites. Who else? Beauchamp.
Beauchamp is in there. Yeah. Jovic is in there. Is that it?
Yeah, because Christian Brown jumped them. Yeah.
Yeah. Look, I want to talk real quick about the Melton deal. This makes sense. Like a guy that, hits a lot of different statistical indicators. Daryl Morey obviously really cares about that stuff. And it makes a lot of sense to me that this is the kind of guy that Morey would target with 23. He is someone that can play immediately, whereas a rookie might not be able to play immediately for them. It's a bit strange for me for Memphis to give up DeAnthony Melton, but I think that this is a team that's going to get expensive relatively soon. And if you can get a first round pick for Melton, who maybe has not been a great shooter, well, what does that look?
The Philadelphia 76ers just selected David Roddy.
See, this is what annoys me. Because now I have to go find a blurb. Now I have to go find a blurb for The Athletic on David Roddy, This is Memphis's
Whoa,
pick. It looks like it's going to be Danny
man.
Green for D'Anthony Melton, and then Memphis
I
gets 23.
did not
Look,
have this. I didn't.
Memphis likes guys that pop statistically. Remember how I said that Memphis tends to like guys that I like? There are occasions where they drastically are different than me.
You're my best friend until the times I absolutely hate you, and then you're not my friend anymore. He's a weirdish type of player where he's strong and he's built like a truck, but has great feet, but can shoot it a little bit.
You're gonna have to talk for a minute through this.
I figured, because you're gonna have to like look up some you're gonna have to look up some synergy clips and write stuff for your pre-drafted stuff. I like David Roddy. I enjoyed watching him in the Mountain West this year. I'm just lower. I had a second round grade on him, significantly lower in the second round. The reason is that in the NCAA tournament, I was just worried about who he guarded. At the combine, he just looked more pedestrian at times versus more athleticism versus more length. But you get him in a workout, in one-on-one, there's a lot of attributes and traits that people are drawn to. Like he can create. He can go off the bounce like a little bit. He does use his body without being a complete bully ball guy. I just worry about on an NBA floor, where do you put him defensively? Where are you able to kind of hide him? Is he guarding threes? He's too small to really guard fours. Like, I don't know if the feet are good enough to guard threes. If you have some shot blockers, if you have some guys rotationally, that'll help mask that a little bit. He has some intriguing offensive tools that are funky. They are. And they'll be able to put the pressure on the opposing team by using that funkiness. You're up. You're on the clock here. Well, I hope you
I'm just laughing. Like,
God damn it.
No, I haven't said anything.
I didn't see
yet.
that. Like,
I
didn't see that coming out of Adam Silver's mouth. I'm surprised more than anything.
Yeah, this one is not one that I like. Look, I like the idea of David Roddy as a player. I really want to root for him. He's exceptionally fun as a player as well. It is cool to watch a guy who is 6'5", 260 pounds with like extremely low body fat, use angles and be able to just create separation with spin moves and like leverage. He like is a baller. Like he is a hooper in every sense of the word. And like, I actually really buy him offensively, to be honest.
Yeah, right.
I think it's going to work offensively. Like he is a 40% 3-point shooter. He looks like a 40% 3-point shooter when he is shooting from a standstill. Yeah. I don't know who he defends. Colorado State was horrible defensively this year. He is not very good defensively. It's going to be a challenge, but you know what? We just talked about this with Jake LaRavia. Like, this is a team that figures it out on that end because they have Jaren Jackson and they have great institutional knowledge. I'm a fan of Memphis. I'm confused by this one, I guess is what I would say, just because I wonder if you could have gotten him at like 40 as opposed to moving. The other part of this is moving D'Anthony Melton for him. And that I can't get behind that at all. Cause I like D'Anthony. I'm not quite as high as like the analytics basketball community is on D'Anthony, but I think he is like a very impactful sixth man. And I worry about David Roddy being this, but Memphis has their board. They stick to their board and they don't give a shit what anyone else thinks. So
which I do like and admire. There's an article yesterday kind of about the Phoenix Suns too, and how they have their boards. They don't look at mock drafts. They don't want to do things unorthodox. Like, I'm on board with that. I just had him way lower, like not even close. Where was he roughly in the Sam Vecenie draft guide extraordinaire?
62nd. I thought he.
Yeah,
I did not have like a draft.
I was hoping he had him higher. I had him 58th. And again, no shot. I really enjoy watching him play. Just
genuinely
about
like
the defense.
Seriously, I really like. I want him to succeed. Like the NBA is a funner place. It is a better place if David Roddy succeeds at a high level. I'm a bit skeptical that it can happen at the level commensurate with the number 23 overall pick.
And for people that may say we're hating and the pick is in, that's the last comment. Former Game Theory prospect of the week. Milwaukee's up. Going on mute. Here we go.
All right, so Milwaukee is up. This was one that I'd kind of been told could move at some point. I'll be interested to see what they do. I think I'd mocked MarJon Beauchamp here.
Well, the mock is right, Sam. MarJon Beauchamp is the pick.
Cool. Yeah. So
I'm good with that. That's what we picked
here.
on in the game theory mock too.
So interesting fit here. I don't personally love this. Can you talk about Beauchamp while I try and send off a Roddy blurb? I'm still like
this
trying
is
to
throwing
load
you.
the draft.
This is throwing you a tailspin. You should have stopped at the 20th pick. You would have had all the time in the world. You would have been having some Vegemite or whatever you do in Australia. MarJon Beauchamp is really emotional right now, and you know what? I dig it because this is
love it. Yeah,
an unbelievable culmination for a kid who was ranked really highly out of high school and just kind of like lost his way a little bit basketball wise, right? And he was going to go do this Chameleon BX thing and train. He ended up at Yakima Junior College, played there. The G League Ignite kind of took a weird last-minute flyer on him to be on the team. So to then turn that into a first-round pick, a key contract with the Milwaukee Bucks, who is a Chris Middleton injury away from potentially making a run in the NBA playoffs and knocking off the Celtics, good for him. And I like Beauchamp as an energy guy defensively from the 3 and 4. Really good cutter, scored off the ball, impressed a lot of scouts during the G League Ignite season, especially at the G League showcase that they had out in Vegas. A lot of scouts walked away saying, why isn't he higher? And that was the first time we got him sort of in that 20-ish range. For him to settle here at 24, I really like it. It's a great organization that he can grow in with the Milwaukee Bucks. There's pieces around him that'll fit to his strengths. They have some shooters. They obviously have Giannis, and he can just run around and be an energy guy from that combo forward spot. The shot needs to get a little better, has decent touch from mid-range. The 3 isn't really there. I saw him up close this season in Atlanta against the Skyhawks, Skyforce, whatever. Love the way he approached the game. So good for him. I'm glad. Shed the tears, man. You earned it.
Yeah, I think this is right around where I had Beauchamp. I think I had him at 27 or so on my board. Completely reasonable pick, right within the tier. The thing that's interesting about this, though, is Milwaukee must really believe that he's going to shoot it, because it's really hard to play non-shooters around Giannis Antetokounmpo. It just ends up being another guy that can double down and dig down onto Giannis, and because he's so big, that can end up causing him issues. Look, if Milwaukee thinks that they believe in the jumper for MarJon Beauchamp, I get this pick. It probably wouldn't have been my pick for Milwaukee. Again, I'm like pretty staggered by Ty Washington falling to like 25 at this point. That's a guy that like is a pristine fit to me, to the Milwaukee Bucks. Someone that, you know, can handle the ball, can play off of Drew Holiday, can play off of Giannis, can play both on and off the ball. I'm a little bit staggered by the fact that Ty is still on the board when, you know, guys like David Roddy are coming off.
Sure. At the same time, we have a group text here among mutual friends. We said potentially that could happen to Ty, but
yeah,
we have San Antonio on the clock. It could still fit there. Like, who knows? So they go for a 5 here. They go for a big. That's been long talked about. This is also a good range for Ty. Ty going here somewhere 25 to 30 to like a really good team. He could be the guy that we talk about in 6 months and say, man, how do we all miss? And part of that is just getting into the right situation. I think Ayo Dosunmu had so much success because he was at an organization with the Bulls that allowed him to be like the full Ayo. He didn't have to be like the 8th pick overall. Go late and thrive in that spot. Herb Jones is different, but he was a later guy. You and I are both really high on him, but he was within this culture of like, just go be Herb Jones. Don't try to be more than that. Don't try to, and ended up being like a good shooter. This could be not like the worst thing in the world for Ty either.
I honestly debated taking David Roddy off of my mock draft earlier. I'm so thrown on Roddy at number 23 or 23. Yeah, 23. I dig it. Like I think that the Spurs are a team that has consistently just drafted with the way the board has fallen. Now, I wonder if that will continue to be the case when they obviously have 3 picks here. They have another one coming in the second round. They might look to move around a little bit. That wouldn't be a surprise, just given that I don't think Greg Popovich wants 4 rookies on the team.
Correct.
Also, Ismail Kamagate is a guy that really makes sense here, I think. Light on his feet, guy that could use some development, guy that might be willing to stash for a year. So they would get the asset of the guy that won the French Defensive Player of the Year award. And then, maybe down the road, it works out a little bit. I really like Kamagate. I have a first round grade on him. I don't
37.
know. We'll have to see what happens here with the Spurs, but I agree with you. The Spurs, like I said, like they have experience taking guys that are underperformers at Kentucky, even in Keldon Johnson. So I think that would make sense.
Yeah, the pick is in. I also want to kind of track this and see how many of these guys stay, how many they ship out, how many go to the G League, because it's a lot. They had the logjam already. Pick is in. Going on mute. Adam Silver, let's go.
Okay, the Spurs are up. So New York, it looks like, acquired 2023 firsts via Denver, Detroit, and Washington in the Ousmane Dieng trade, which is an insane haul. No idea how that worked. Matt, looks like there's a pick in.
I love the Spurs draft. They took Blake Wesley.
Yeah, sure. That works as well. I think I had Blake at 16. At one point, I had Blake mocked at 20. Yeah, look, I think I had Blake at 25 on my final big board on the draft guide. Makes total sense here. A guy that needs some work, like genuinely, truly needs some time to develop and grow and to fix his efficiency. But there are few guys that can separate from their man on the ball in the way that Blake Wesley can in this class. I loved the way Notre Dame used him. They'd set super high ball screens for him and then just let him rock, get him in space against guys that really couldn't guard him because of his intersection of flexibility, explosiveness, and strength. Like, he's a stronger dude than what he looks like at 185 pounds. Like, he plays with real explosiveness in a real way. So I get this. I totally get it with Blake Wesley at number 25. You're a little bit higher on Blake, if I remember correctly, Matt.
I am. I have him 18th. So for the Spurs on my board, you got three guys in the top 18 out of 25 picks. That's an enormous win. I mean, I'm an idiot, so who knows if they pan out or not. But Blake Wesley, I saw him early in the year at Boston College. I went to shoot around before they played the game. He started every game in the ACC as a freshman, was called upon to do a lot. Great shot creator. I worry a little bit about the finishing. That's what I think probably dropped him down some. The efficiency with shots, but the finishing by the rim. Just those games, at NCAA tournament, where he's just blocked multiple times in like the first 4 game, and they escaped, they got out of there. But I would have liked sort of a better performance to end on. The pre-draft stuff, some workouts he absolutely killed. Some were just like, not bad. Could have been the guy to go back to school, make the sophomore jump. Not like he's not going to be Jaden Ivey. I'm not saying it would have been a top 5 pick, but could he have improved his stock? Jumped about 10 spots? Maybe, because he is so young. He came on the scene from South Bend, Indiana, South Bend High School, somewhere around that area, and had that lost season due to COVID on the summer circuit. So this is still new to him. There's still a lot for him as a younger player. A great franchise, a great organization, and they'll take their time with him. I need to buy tickets to the Austin Spurs because that team's going to be awesome to watch in the G League. And it's not a knock. It's not. It's like let's just like get better. Here's your like NBA redshirt season as opposed to like doing a sophomore year at Notre Dame.
Yeah, totally. And I actually think that he had real upside to move into the lottery had he ended up going back to school. And to be honest, I think he made the right call given what the result is now, because going to the Spurs where they will get a chance to look at his shot, because that's the thing that I've been told throughout workouts. He was a guy that was considered a potential riser through the pre-draft process whenever he entered the draft, but ends up at 25 now. I was told he didn't shoot it super well during workouts, to be honest. And I would hope that the Spurs, this is a fantastic fit across the board in every single way. The Spurs are going to do every single thing they can to fix his jump shot. And he might end up being something like special down the road. It's a high upside, like semi-low floor pick, I think, but I dig it. It looks like the pick is in for Houston. Look, I mean, Ty's sitting here at 26. I thought he was potentially in the mix at 17.
17,
yeah,
right.
That's why I say that.
That's okay. My last thought on the Spurs here is that you have these picks. You have these multiple first-round picks to get Malaki Branham and Blake Wesley at 20 and 25. If one of them hits, it's a good draft, right? If like one of those guys pans out, I don't have concerns or hesitations about Jeremy Sochan's defensive ability panning out. But then if one of those two swingman type of guys, That's another good young guard to throw in an already good backcourt. So I like that.
So producer Jacob is in the feed here saying that Houston is trading this pick to Dallas in a very confusing manner per Shams. So this
okay.
to me, if it's Dallas's pick as opposed to Houston, screams wing help and like defensive wings. Who do we have left in that regard? Are you
there?
are
Adam
we
Silver. I'm
muted?
going to go back on mute here. He's announcing the Duren trade officially. That's why it's taking longer.
Okay. Yeah, just kind of looking through defensive wings. I mean, maybe Wendell Moore, maybe Kendall Brown, maybe Trevor Keels could be another name here.
Are you cheating? Do you have like a burner?
I'm naming like 4 names. Like,
oh well, then it's like, yeah, I got it.
I'm guessing here.
You hit the first one, Sam. You hit the dartboard,
Okay.
bullseye start. It's Wendell Moore Jr., who
for what it's worth, I would never have guessed Wendell Moore if it wasn't Dallas's pick. I would have never thought Houston was taking Wendell Moore. But for Dallas, it makes sense because Wendell is a good defender that, which is hilarious because wait a minute. This was Dallas's pick and they traded it for Christian Wood, and now they're getting it back. Woj just saying Minnesota has it now. Again, Wendell Moore, a guy that I had been told Minnesota liked, so that makes sense again. At one point, I had Wendell Moore at like 21, noting that he might not get there. So I would get that. Maybe they slid back to 29.
You wanted trades. Your complaint is no trades. Now we have all the trades. So
now we're into like minutia trades though. Like this isn't what I want. I want like Malcolm Brogdon traded. I want
this is the deck chairs on the
fucking
Titanic
trade Zion. Like I don't care. Like do whatever we can do.
We're only pick 27 here. But the graphic just flashed on the screen that Duke has 4 guys in the first round that'll be blasted out to every recruit tomorrow morning if it's not already been sent out. I like Wendell Moore. I had him a little bit lower. I had him 36. The first round stuff.
Time out. I do just want to be very clear. I have no idea. I do not think Zion Williamson is getting traded. That is not based on anything. I just want to stop that right there.
All right. Well, you know what? If he's not getting traded, I'm taking off my tie. But I like the Wendell Moore thing there. Somewhere in that 25 to 35 range. You take him at 26. He was very solid for Duke during the year. He was like sort of that steady hand where Paolo was the star and AJ was a shooter and Mark Williams getting up and down. I liked what he did. He helped in a lot of different ways. I like the passing. The shooting wasn't bad. Still younger and had like a bounce back, had a real bounce back, had a terrible year the year before. A lot of times we just write off those guys and we just forget about them and they end up being 4-year college guys. He put it all back together. It's a good story about going back to school, not transferring, working on it, and they're your first round pick. So good for him.
I loved Wendell Moore coming out of high school. I thought he was terrific. I loved his footwork. I loved his defensive intensity. Everyone I talked to had told me super professional mindset. Didn't like him at all the first 2 years. Thought he really struggled. I had significant concerns about the athleticism. I still have some concerns about the athleticism, to be honest, but he's gotten so good defensively. He's gotten so smart. I think he's probably going to make it work in the NBA on some level. I had him at 31. I get this pick for Dallas particularly. I think that he's the kind of guy they've had success with in the past. Real quick note from good friend of the program, Adam Spinella, who was on the show earlier. Thank you for having me. It was a blast. David Roddy, Woo Child, that's caliente.
We need some spice.
Shout out Spins. Love the guy. It's just such an interesting decision. To move this pick like multiple times now. So he's going to Minnesota, actually, it looks like. Wendell Moore. I'm sorry.
Sure.
I'm a little bit confused. Again, Minnesota makes sense. Tim Connolly tends to like these guys that are egoless human beings that, can come in and be like their kind of guy, be team guys. You look at his draft history in Denver, it makes sense. A little bit confused on that. It looks like, according to producer Jacob, Houston via Dallas traded to Minnesota is the final Shams report.
You know what's amazing, Sam, is that Jacob and Zach have been around for 2 episodes, 3 episodes?
Yeah.
And they've immediately become irreplaceable.
No, totally. Like in
it's
every
unreal.
way.
It's unreal. Yeah, it's like I don't know what we did before the graphics were here and somebody telling us the trades. So great.
Yeah,
so
we
shout
totally
out to you
fail.
guys too. Shout out to you guys too.
Shout out producer Zach, producer Jacob. That's just the two best people here. By far the most integral people to this operation. As I like hunt my computer for David Roddy copy,
It took us like a year to get the Game Theory logo like in the live feed. They got like a basketball background. They got graphics. They got scrolling on the bottom. I don't know how you do it. Got no clue, but
it legit took us over a year to stream. Like it took us a while to figure out how to stream.
Well, I was also just worried too about the stream. You're like, all right, we got to go live at 4:30. I'm like, technically it's supposed to be at work, so can we like do that a little bit later in the day? So we're all growing here together, and now we get two other crazies to join us, which is awesome.
Beautiful. Okay, so 27. I forget who was 27.
Supposed to be Miami. I don't know. I'll be traded.
Miami makes sense.
4 times.
So
for who?
one name I got told here was EJ Liddell ahead of time. The pick is not in. I don't think nobody has it right.
The pick is in. Yeah, it is, but they're not walking yet. So give me some more EJ juice.
Cool. Yeah, I just heard that Miami kind of liked EJ Liddell. Jaden Hardy is another name that I kind of got here. I like Jaden quite a bit for them. Especially as another offensive creator in their backcourt, next to Tyler Hero. Like this is, it's interesting. Yeah, we'll see what they do.
I'd like Hardy here too. I have Jaden Hardy at, where was I? I am at 26.
Also,
so it's almost like perfect. He's a guy that quote unquote draft Twitter has been really high on, and they lean heavily on the age and playing G League Ignite. And I get it. You're thrown right into the fire.
Yeah.
You're not tiptoeing through the coals. So like get in there and figure your way out. Took time for him. He was a top 5 kid coming out of high school. We talked about projected being a top pick during the year. He does deserve credit for improving. The shot selection is still an issue, but he can fill it up. If that's a spark, energy guy off the bench, and a great culture at Miami that would hold him accountable for those type of things, I'd be on board for that pick. Hasn't happened yet. As we talk about Jaden Hardy. But.
Producer Jacob says that he wants to seize the deal to get Ty. I would love Ty for the Boston Celtics. I would love Ty for the Miami Heat. I keep forgetting Ty is still available. We have a pick coming in, so Matt is muting. I agree with you, Jacob. Like this is a smart move if the Celtics can get in late first. I mean, we're at the point now where who the hell knows, does Ty fall to the early second? But who? Okay, we have another.
We're announcing the David Roddy trade. That's why I put my fingers up. Like, how's he getting drafted again? Stand by.
Yeah. Jacob, I'm totally with you. I think that I think Ty would make a lot of sense for a number of teams moving forward. It is bizarre to me that people just continue to not take him. Matt?
Well, he's still not taken. We have Nikola Jovic from Serbia being drafted here, 27th overall by the Miami Heat.
So Jovic was working out in Miami. I wonder if, maybe they went and saw him or something like that. I'm not really a fan of Jovic. I have a 2nd round grade on him. This is the second lowest player to get drafted for me.
How low in the 2nd round? I have him right at I have him at 31, so kind of right here.
Yeah, I have him like 35 or so, like 34 maybe. I probably have like 6 guys ahead of him at this point, I would say.
But has size, can shoot. I mean, there are questions about what can you do if you're not doing that. Like what's the passing, what's the defense, but the way that he can pull up, the way that he has to range to stretch the floor, not bad off the dribble, not great. I'm not mad at this one here. It's not like a complete shock to me that they went this direction.
Yeah, no, and I'm a little bit surprised. This Jovic does not scream Miami to me, but he is like a very confident human being that I think will accept like Jimmy Butler, like cursing him out. Look,
right.
Jovic is a point forward. That's the whole thing. Like 6'11", can really handle the ball, plays with good flexibility, plays on the ball. Like that's his thing. Like he is very good at handling the ball and attacking and being able to get out on the break and grab and go. He is a okay shooter. The percentages this year weren't great. People believe he will shoot over in Europe, but I will say I was kind of told that like the shot didn't look great pre-draft. So I'm I'm a little bit confused on Nikola Jovic to the Miami Heat, particularly. Yeah, we'll see. This is a weird one. We're
a little weird.
Yeah, the Warriors are up now. I will be interested to see if they keep this pick because this pick cost them like $10 million probably to keep.
They won a championship. Money is no object. Luxury tax, sure. Extra picks, sure. Too many spots on the roster, whatever.
Yeah, I don't think it's 10. I think it's legit like an additional like 7 or something like that. I wouldn't be surprised to see a stash. I wouldn't be surprised
I think I'm gonna
to
say
see
tie again.
I look, if they want to take Ty, I'm all in.
Please.
Like, let's do it. Let's get here for it.
Do you go here? And I think they have projects, and not any projects, but guys that need development time. And Moses Moody and Jonathan Kuminga. You could throw James Wiseman into that boat. Do you take more of a sort of ready-made older guy because of that, and don't go the developmental route of a whatever Peyton Watson, a Max Christie, one of those guys that's still left? Even Jaden Hardy is younger and is going to need some minutes.
I'll be honest, I'd probably like trade this pick, but if I was running the show, like I would probably look to move this for a future first from a team that, you know, had Ty at, 18 or wherever on their board. Right. I don't know if they'll do that, but I understand. Look, I think that it's just going to be hard for rookies and young players to find minutes in this rotation because they're acting like they want to bring everyone back. They want to bring back Gary Payton. They want to bring back Kevon Looney. Obviously, they already have James Wiseman, Moses Moody, Jonathan Kuminga. Like, I think you absolutely are just swinging for the fences and taking upside, or you're stashing, or you're trading it here because
I would
that whoever you take here is not playing for you.
Not playing. Or if he is, the pick is in here. If he is, then one of Moses, Moody, Kuminga, James. It's going to be an odd man out. It is. We didn't mention Jordan Poole and Steph Curry. Yeah, you need some time for him.
Andrew Wiggins. Yeah.
Oh yeah, Andrew Wiggins.
Right.
Yeah, lockdown Tatum in the finals. You need minutes eaters though. Like if you can get somebody who can actually play, who's older during the regular season to rest those legs. That would be an important piece. Isn't that what Moses Moody, Jonathan Kuminga, and James Wiseman are next year? Sure. I mean, my kind of projection before he was off the board was like, that's why I like Christian Brown here. He can just like eat 20 minutes a night if you need it. That's why I like Wendell Moore here. Similar, just like a little bit older. I don't know if a younger player would be like a minutes eater per se.
Give me Gabriel Procida, baby.
Sure. That's a good one. I like that. If this is a Procida pick, we're ending the live stream because you've been too spot on when you make these actual declarations.
I missed last time. I would have never guessed Jovic.
We are strutting to the altar here. Commissioner Silver going on mute. Let's do it.
3 more picks. Pennie is waiting. We're waiting anxiously for what the Golden State Warriors are going to do. What? He's looking. He's...
Okay. This is somebody, I'm going to do clues. This is somebody that I projected close. Projected in the top 10 prior to the season. Had a very lackluster freshman year.
Caleb Houston.
Go again. Who's lower? Got one more.
Pat Baldwin
Jr. I am legitimately shocked. I am by this one. I like Pat. I really wanted to work in Milwaukee. He went and played for his dad. I totally get it. Out of high school, I loved him. I had him as a projected top 5 guy, high in that class. Maybe you get him, and Klay Thompson puts his arm around him and says, "Hey, Rook, like, I'm going to show you the ropes. I'm going to show you how to do this. We're going to fix your shot. We're going to fix your confidence. You don't have to play, but we'll get you in a championship organization and bring you along." So I don't hate it. As I just say, don't take a guy that's not going to play. I'm not mad at the guy they took that's not going to play.
Absolutely the best possible fit for Pat Baldwin. I had Pat at like 43. I don't think I would have taken him this high necessarily. There are probably other guys that I would have taken ahead of Pat Baldwin. I mentioned a few of them. Like if I wanted a floor spacer that's like 6'8" or taller, I probably would have taken Procida at the end of the day. But Pat Baldwin is like center size in terms of his standing reach. He's like a 9.5 standing reach. His release point's ridiculous. This Golden State team, as it's currently constructed, is going to get him open shots. He didn't play well this year, and I really don't think he's going to defend at the NBA level. That is it for me. it's the same with David Roddy on some level, right? I just really worry that he's not going to defend at a high enough level. I don't know, man. Like, I kind of dig this. Like, as someone who was way lower on Pat Baldwin, I think that this fit is so seamless that it makes sense to me.
No, it is kind of like perfect. If you said, here's every team in the league for Pat Baldwin Jr., which one makes the most sense where he is right now? Yeah, it's probably Golden State. I'm worried. NBA teams are really worried during pre-draft because the foot speed was not there. He did not test well.
No explosiveness.
All-time bad testing numbers. He tested like a backup center, like legitimately. And he can't guard like a backup center. The shot wasn't as good as it came out of high school. Did have some injuries out of high school too. So only played like half the year there. Another byproduct of like the COVID season for most. Didn't have the best pieces around him at Milwaukee either. We talked about that. Nobody made his life easier. Had an enormous target on his back going there as a top 5, top 10 recruit. We argued that maybe you transfer and go to Duke for a year, go to Northwestern for a year or two and see if it pans out. I like this kind of transfer to the Golden State Warriors, and not to mention either guaranteed money. So he's getting guaranteed money as a first-round pick.
Love it.
Getting to work with at least 2 of the best shooters in the league and probably in my lifetime. Good for him. Good spot.
Yeah, and he's going to shoot. Like, I know the percentages said, 26% from 3 this year. This shot is pure as hell, man. Like, that thing is going to go. You just look at how good his balance is. You look at the release. It's so clean. His rhythm is great. He shoots off of movement. He just got no clean looks. Like, I think he literally had like 12 open catch and shoot looks this season. That's it for the 12 games that he played. So yeah, I don't know. I dig it.
And they'll put some fight in him too. That was a holdup. People said that Florida game, they got down. He shut it down. Like Brown, they shut it down. Thanks, Rhode Island. So he has to pull out. He needs to get some of that dog in him too. And those guys are going to pull him. They are. So again, great spot there. Pick is in for 29.
Houston,
and we have
via Minnesota, via
Zach
Memphis.
Update. Yeah, so it's Houston. Houston is picking. 3rd time around, do we go Ty Washington?
That's my prediction. I'm
looking here. I have him 22. That's the highest guy left on my board. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's a good thing to do here. So Ty is 14. He's the highest. I have Jaden Hardy at 20. EJ Liddell 24, Bryce McGowan's 26, Max Christie 27, and Ishmael Kamagate 29. Those are my only first rounders remaining. Bryce McGowan's is a bit of a project. It's a bit of a flyer on my part. I get it if he doesn't go in the first round. I get it if Max Christie doesn't go in the first round. Again, bit of a project. EJ Liddell and Ty, like those are the 2. That'd be pretty surprising to me.
Yeah, I had Liddell 21, Ty 22. I'm a huge Ryan Rollins fan. I have him 24. I know that's high.
Yeah.
Kenny Chandler 25, Jaden Hardy 26, Kendall Brown 28, Christian Coloco 30th. Pick is in. Go on mute here.
Okay, the 29th pick is in, I would think. Yeah, I mean, Matt's looking.
We spoke it into existence. Get him out of the green room.
Yeah, so
yeah,
I mentioned this at the 17th overall pick that the 2 guys that I'd heard most with Houston were Tari Eason and Ty Washington. Houston did a very good job managing their board, moving 26 for 29 and picking up 2 additional second rounders while still getting the guy that they would have taken at 26, I would imagine, in Ty. So it's the reason that I loved this from the jump is I think it's a phenomenal fit with Jalen Green. Ty Washington processes the game at an absolutely exceptional level. He is so smart at being able to read off the ball, being able to read when he's like the second side player, making quick passing reads, getting downhill and making cross corner kickouts. He's great out of ball screens, as he showed this year when in the limited minutes that he got a chance to play on the ball against Vanderbilt and against Georgia. I think this is absolutely the product of him not being utilized in his ideal role at Kentucky. I don't blame John Calipari for that. Like, I think that they just had Severe Wheeler. I would have probably tried to bench Severe Wheeler a little bit more, but like, nonetheless, like they needed to get their 5 best guys on the court in any way that they could. And Ty, I think, was the victim of that. Also, Kentucky had no spacing this year. Oscar Tshiebwe, Severe Wheeler, Keon Brooks, Jacob Toppin at the 4. That's 3 guys all the time out there, 0 shooting, 0 spacing. Houston is going to have Jabari Smith now. They're going to have Jalen Green out there. They're going to play him with more spacing. The NBA naturally has more spacing. I love this fit. This is now Houston getting 2 of my lottery guys now at, 3. They got 3 again. This is the second year in a row where Houston has taken 3 lottery guys from me. Because I have Tari at 13. I have Ty at 14. Last year was Jalen Green. It was Alperin.
Say it.
And pass.
Yeah, so let's not celebrate
Ousmane Garuba.
Yep. My worry about Ty is actually with the shooting. He's great in mid-range, but like he has to extend it to 3-point line. Has to. Because that's how he's going to be able to stay on the floor. I like the ball screen pick and roll reads that you said played definitely as more of a combo next to Severe Wheeler, who's a smaller guard at Kentucky, and played through injuries too. Got injured in that Auburn game and really never was the same the rest of the season. So he bounced back, had a decent game in the SEC tournament, but didn't really see the whole Ty thing. Don't love the long twos, don't love the finishing. Nice touch, decent floater game. Push it out to 3. That's a good pick at 29 here. So we have 30, which I think we've said is our pick is in. Pick traded to Denver. Zach is saying here. This is
Denver's pick.
So it's Denver's pick.
This should be Denver's pick. But wait, so no. It shouldn't be traded to Denver. Denver has the pick. Who is it? Maybe they're just like saying that this pick was traded to Denver a little while ago. Maybe.
I think so.
Oh no! Yeah. No. It could be no. I think they would have executed the JaMychal Green thing already.
Zach, update the side box. I don't know what's going on. What's Woj saying? What's Sean saying?
It's probably Denver's. I don't know.
I think it's Denver's. The pick is in here. Here's a last pick. Last time hitting mute on Commissioner Silver. The last strut of the first round before he transitions. We transition. Here we go.
All right. Pennie is up. It's our last mute of the day. We've got someone fun, assuredly. I think Andrew, for what it's worth, I had Andrew Nembhard to Denver. We
went fun. 33 on my board. I was a big fan. Did not play a lot of minutes. Played in the Pac-12.
Peyton Watson.
Peyton Watson, baby. Yeah. I am at 33, so it is interesting. I don't mind it. Again, he went to a situation at UCLA where they returned their starters from the Final Four the year before.
Yeah.
They added Miles Johnson from Rutgers. He wasn't really going to play. People who went out and saw him at practice said, yeah, he handled the ball a lot, played more in the wing. When he did get minutes out there, struggled at times with confidence. I get it. But the defensive stuff stood out. He would block shots. He played the top of the press. He'd hit a weird 3, have a dunk. He's an up and down guy. I like that as an investment prospect in play. It is. And I don't know, even next year at UCLA, how much he necessarily would have played. He wanted to get into the NBA. People around the program said he's an unbelievable kid. It's going to take time. He needs a weight room, and that's a good place for him to end up being.
Yeah, I had a top 40 grade on Watson in the end. I liked him a little bit more than the guys like Josh Minot, like Pat Baldwin, like Caleb Houston, etc. Even though he didn't play, for all of the reasons that Matt said, 6'8", can really handle the ball, really defends at a high level, a little bit more twitchiness athletically, I think, than all of those guys outside of Minot, but also has some of the ball skills that Minot doesn't have. Yeah, I mean, I'm a big fan. I am generally a big fan of the idea of Peyton Watson while still acknowledging that there is a lot of room that he needs to grow.
Yeah, totally. I love Peyton Watson. I would have had him in the lottery next year to sneak in and be that last pick in the first round is good for him too.
There is only one completely dumbfounding pick this year, which is interesting.
Which one? Yeah.
Yeah, the David Roddy one.
Let's do this as we can kind of, as we're wrapping up here, we're closing the party. The lights are on at the bar. Who are you most surprised did not get selected in the first round?
Jaden Hardy.
Yeah.
Yeah, Jaden Hardy was the highest guy on my board, as we just said. Ended up being that, let's see, Jaden Hardy 1, EJ Liddell 2, Bryce McGowan's 3, Max Christie 4, Ishmael Kamagate 5. Those are the only 5 guys on my board that did not get picked.
As you know, we've done the NBA draft here for 3 years. I've been an enormous fan of the NBA draft my whole life. I love it. So it's hard for me to criticize it. I love the way it's presented. Let's not invite 24 guys to the green room. Let's not, right? It's like, let's invite 12, 14, 24 is too many. Somebody's going to slide. And now the second round, we say it all the time here. The second round is a crapshoot because it's teams negotiating more than drafting. They're saying, hey, we'll give you a 2-year non-guaranteed deal. We'll give you a 2-way. First year is great. Second year is a team option. So despite we're looking at the top remaining guys, EJ Liddell, Kennedy Chandler, Jaden Hardy, Trevor Keels, Jalen Williams from Arkansas. Those guys might be the next 5 guys that should be taken, but their agents right now might be maneuvering, saying we can get a better deal at 50 than we could at 31, or we might get a better deal undrafted than we would here. And then those guys look around like, well, you told me I was good. Now what do I do? So, yeah, it's hard. Second round becomes a very slippery slope for a lot of people.
Yeah, I agree. Matt, what do you want to do here? Do you want to – I know that we talked about recording a separate wrap-up show. I know we've talked about a number of different things. What are we thinking here?
I think we probably take at least a 20-second, 20-minute timeout, have the draft on the background. I didn't have the toll booth bathroom. Like to do that, maybe hydrate. Yeah. But at least call this one, right? Round 1.
Yeah, we're going to call this stream,
yeah.
I think. First round.
We streamed it.
Yeah. At some point in the next couple of days, you guys will have another stream breaking down the NBA draft. I'm not totally sure when that's going to be. It will either be tomorrow in your feeds after we post this one, or it will be over the weekend, depending on my ability to live, because we just posted or we just streamed for 3 hours.
93,000 word draft thing. We've streamed for 3 hours and 15 minutes. I'm losing close. I just have sweat shorts and a Sean Miller long sleeve on, so this is probably a good time to bid adieu to the people that tuned in. Awesome. I don't see the YouTube comments and everything, but people texting me. I appreciate that people actually listen to us talk about the NBA draft. It means a lot to me.
Yeah, it means a lot to me too. Thank you guys so much for, being willing to come with us and join us on this. It was super fun. We did 3 hours live streaming. It's the first time that I've done this long at the very least, where it's literally just hosting and talking the whole time. I've done it before where, I've been in a studio with people. I've done it before where I've been the person that is off to the side and they come to me when they need a breakdown of the random international guy. But never like this, and my voice is dying a slow, painful death. But it's all worth it for you guys to get some enjoyment out of this and everything. Shout out to producers Zach and Jacob on the 1s and 2s more than anything. This is a 3-hour live stream, and good God, did they absolutely kill it. We're going to add them to the stream real quick. They look good. They're not going to do anything stupid.
They look gassed. You look like you just had back-to-back Orange Theory classes.
Give me some fire takes on the draft here before we head out.
Jacob, you go first.
Well, for starters, I think Houston got away with robbery somehow. I don't know how they managed to get their 2 late first rounders and managed to get lotto guys, like you said. I agree with Matt. The Spurs had an incredible draft. And, I really would have liked to see the Celtics try to make a move for Ty, but, it is what it is,
Zach, Brady Manick unfortunately did not go in the first round.
He's sliding. I was a little surprised to see Ty Washington slide as far as he did. But, one name that's still on the board that I'm shocked is Josh Minot. Really surprised that name wasn't called. I was really expecting Adam Silver to say the word Minot.
You know what, though, man? You're such a good sport about that, too, that as you know, as you probably listen and see, we just kind of pile on each other as it goes. So
totally.
thanks for taking that in stride, too.
Hey, all I'm saying is if we're jumping to David Roddy at 24, why not jump to Manek in the second round? That's all I'm saying.
I'm
Look,
watching.
I'm telling you, if Brady Manek gets picked in the second round, like 4-hour live,
We're throwing a
stream
party.
again,
Yeah,
like,
I'm Venmoing you for
yeah.
pizza party wherever that room is.
Oh my God. Okay, guys, say goodbye to the people. We're gonna pop you guys out. We're gonna say goodbye to the folks. Okay, that's the wrong one. Okay. Thank you all for watching.
Yes.
Thank you all so much. This will be up on the podcast stream at some point later today. Whether or not I break it up into one podcast, two podcasts, I'm not sure. But thank you all so much for watching us. This was a great time. For Matt Pennie over there in Boston, Matt, tell them where they can find you.
Find me on Twitter, party people, Matt_Pennie. I'm there. I'm sure it won't be as eventful as the build-up lead-up has been. But again, thank you for everybody for listening and following along throughout this. I always feel like I'm just talking to Sam, who I consider a friend here, just talking draft takes. So when people actually have interactions and stuff, it's still crazy to me, a little bit surreal, but I'm very, very appreciative.
Yeah, it's just the best. The absolute best time I have talking basketball is with Matt on the show, talking about the NBA draft. So until next time, folks, we'll talk soon. Bye.